All right, here we go. Gilbert Arenas, welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. I think it's our 5th time at bat. Gone as multiple years now.
Veteran at this, huh?
You're a vet. You're a vet. All right, we have a lot to talk about, but right now, Miami Heat and Boston Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3-2 right now. So by the time this comes out, the series will probably be over.
Okay.
What do you predict will happen?
Listen, I know everyone hates when I say this, but I'm just being honest. Both teams are trash. It's just a fact. We can say whatever we want. I mean, we can say, oh, they play hard, but when it comes down to just the personnel on, let's say Miami, right? I mean, you got 7 players who were undrafted, right? You got one of those players, 2 of those. I mean, then you got 2 starters that are hurt.
Yeah.
You got Victor, who's number 2 pick. You have Hero, who's, you missing those 2. Now you have to rely more on undrafted players. Let you know how weak your team really is. Just Jimmy is that good and the coaching staff is just that good. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to just the personnel, they're not that good. Boston, you have 2 players, right? You have 2 good players that seem like they're not really meshing together. And then the rest of the players on the team just, okay, right? Yeah. So they have more talent, so they should actually pull out the series. It's going to be sad if they do because it'd be the first team in history to ever come back from 3-0 deficit in the Eastern Conference Final. And it's that talent, right? It's like, ooh, right? You're expecting like a bunch of superstars on a team, but it's like, yeah. So to be honest, I really don't care what happens.
You don't care?
That. Yeah, Denver's going to blow whoever they're facing out. It's a Denver championship.
I mean, right. I mean, the Denver Nuggets are going to the finals for the first time ever in franchise history. How long have the Nuggets been around?
30, 40 years. I mean, yeah.
Let me see.
Has to be since the 80s?
1967.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So
oh, my God. Yo.
First time, man.
67. That was before I was born. In my entire life.
You've never been to the finals.
Yeah. So you think they're going to blow through whoever comes in?
Yeah. Once Giannis went out, the East really had no chance of winning this year's championship because he was the only really dominant force that can really take over the game offense and defensively, and that team was championship built. Everyone else, you have 1 star, you have 2 stars, the rest of your team is not really built like that. Second was Philly, but they don't play hard enough to really compete for a championship. They had the second most talent, and some can argue they had the most talent in the East when it comes to individual personnel. So, once, Greek went out, then it was a West Coast championship no matter who got there.
Do you feel that Jokic right now is the best player in the league?
He can make that claim. He can make the claim. Some people are going to claim, well, he didn't win an MVP, so he's not the best. Right. But the MVP is not the best player in the league. Is the best player on the best team. I who knows their mathematics on how they use it. But from my calculation, Embiid should have been 3rd.
I mean, why do they pick the MVP? Because like you said, Embiid is the MVP right now. Why do they pick the MVP after the finals?
Because it's a regular season award.
I see what you're saying. Because otherwise, people who don't make it to the playoffs wouldn't be up for it. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so the award should be given out as soon as the season's over with to make it easier. But with Embiid, Greek, and Jokic, they all had a +1 from last year to this year. Some points went down in rebounds, but they all were +1.5. So if they're all +1.5, Jokic went from 6th place to 1st place. Greek went from 3rd place to 1st place. So technically, they would have been the front runners. Embiid went from 4th to 3rd. So in theory, Embiid is technically the 3rd best option for the MVP. So it's like, really, technically, how does he win the MVP over Jokic and what's the name mathematically? Because they were all 1.5 plus.
Right, but Jokic, okay, and I understand the MVP, argument, right? But when you're looking at what's happening right now, he is averaging a 30-point triple-double throughout the postseason. Nobody has done that before. Not Kobe, not LeBron. I mean, was Jordan doing that?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Has anyone ever actually done that?
No.
He's the only person in NBA history to be throwing up these types of stats.
Listen, what he's doing is incredible. But 80s and 90s, they're not gonna let you put him in front of anybody that's Shaq, and I'm gonna put you Will. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things
Johnson,
where he becomes. Someone argued, is Jokic right now the 6th best center, right? And I'm saying, show me who's the top 5. And I said, if this is your list of top 5, then I'll actually move one of them out and put him as 5, because of what he's doing. I mean, he's just playing the game different. It's not the sexiest way of playing when it comes to star power. When you're talking about star power, it's the dunking, the flash, and all of that. He doesn't have that. He just gets the job done.
Right.
But when we talk about the best player in the NBA, they're gonna top 3. You're still gonna have, Kevin Durant up there as one. You're gonna have Curry,
LeBron.
Yeah. And Giannis. Right?
Yeah.
You're going to still have those guys, arguing, but, the way Jokic is playing the game, it's hard to keep him out of the top 3.
Well, when you said the top 5 centers of all time, I looked it up. So here is a list on ESPN. So let's see who we're going to knock out of the top 5. Number 1, they have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay.
Number 2 is Will Chamberlain.
Okay.
They're going old school with the list, you know what I mean? Bill Russell's number 3. Shaq is number 4.
Mm-hmm.
And Hakeem Olajuwon is number 5.
Okay. 1, no one in their right mind to say if these guys all matched up in their prime, not one of them would beat Shaq, right? No, not even close. Orlando Shaq, Lakers Shaq will blow past all these guys when it comes to just what he does.
Well, he's bigger than everyone that I just mentioned.
You know what I mean? And actually,
1.
he had skill. It's not like he was playing brute basketball.
No.
Right? So he will dominate these guys.
Okay.
But, now you're talking about, Kareem because he has the most points, right?
Yep.
But outside of his sky hook, what did he actually do? What did he improve in? Right? Let's just be honest. Like, I've seen the dunk contest he was in, trash. Right? But I don't expect him to be a great dunker, but just watching how he played the game then, and, this is like Atari. I can't say Atari's good if I know what, the Xbox, X and S looks like. I know what these graphics look like. Yeah. So it's hard for me to say, yeah, you can beat this generation of gaming. So with Shaquille O'Neal, it's like, none of you guys, he will brutalize you guys. So technically, he will be the number 1 center, the most dominant center ever. Yeah, your numbers say, yeah, you are, but you played Shaq 1-on-1. It's your lunch meat.
Okay, so Shaq versus Jokic 1-on-1.
Shaq will beat through Jokic.
So who would you knock off this top 5 list? Would be
for Jokic? Yeah. I'm knocking off Bill Russell.
Bill Russell.
May he rest in peace. 1, let's just be honest. When did he play? The 60s?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so there's 6, 7 black people in the league at the time. Let's just be honest. I mean, listen, if you're a Boston fan, you're a Bill Russell fan, listen, I understand this is not going to be the best topic for you, but reality is reality.
All right. In fact, he played from 56 to 69. So he played in the 50s.
Yeah, so that means
there was 2 black people.
Yeah, there was basically 2 to 3 black people back then. There was no free agency.
Yeah.
Right? So it only happened in trades. Fucking AAU schedule. Right? You had a YMCA schedule. So that means there's fucking 4 teams on the side, 4 to 6 on the side, 4 to 6 on the side. So whoever was the dominant team, you weren't going to get dethroned because there was no free agent market. You just drafted players or you traded. So basically, if you didn't like your talent, right, and you were trying to rebuild, all you did just trade with Boston. They give you their start. That's why, they had bench players that made the All-Star game and are all in the NBA Hall of Fame. Right? So, 2 out of his 3 championships, his team was under 500.
Well, yeah, and even back then, a lot of the basketball players would have jobs.
They all had second jobs.
They had second jobs, right? I mean, they would play the NBA and then go back to work at like the factory, and then the next season they'd go back and play the NBA.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you have 11 rings. I get it, right? You know, you don't want to like talk down on, you know, the guys who started this. That's usually the argument. Well, we started this for you. Congratulations. Yes. I get it. Someone had to.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about the greatest of all time, unfortunately, you just don't make the list anymore. I'm sorry, anymore. You cannot make the list anymore. And no matter how they argue, and the people who argue, right? If I said, hey, Michael Jordan, a guy from the 60s, what do you think if y'all played one-on-one? Now he will just fucking laugh, like, get the fuck out of here, right? Like this would be disgusting. Don't even talk to me about this guy. And if you ask the players today, hey, what would you do against this guy? Now would it become, we would destroy them. But then they would try to argue for them.
Okay. So if you look at eras, when you look at like the GOATs of the eras, right?
That's how it should be. The GOATs for those
eras. The GOATs for those eras. Let's just look at eras. Magic Johnson in his prime versus Michael Jordan in his prime. Who would win?
On what?
One-on-one.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Okay. Michael Jordan in his prime, Kobe in his prime.
Michael Jordan.
So Jordan versus LeBron.
Jordan.
Okay. So you would say overall Jordan's the best player ever.
But see, that's not how you do it, right?
Nope.
Because you have one-on-one players and then you have like basketball players, right? So like Jokic, right? You put Jokic in a one-on-one scenario, right? He'd probably lose that, right? You pick, and this is why he probably went in the second round. You're going to try out. You're doing one-on-one workouts. You're doing 1 versus 1. You're doing by yourself workouts. You don't look sexy. Your skill level, what you're great at, does not show here. Now I put 9 other players on your floor. Now your genius comes out. Now what makes you a number 1 pick, a future Hall of Famer, comes out in those categories. So, you know, the game is different for different players. Jordan, Kobe, they're one-on-one juggernauts, right? So it's you can't compare him with LeBron. LeBron is not a one-on-one player. He's like Jokic. He's a team guy. He's a 5-on-5 type of player.
I see what you're saying. So, like, for example, if you put a one-on-one game, you know, if you want to go racial with it, if you want to go Jokic versus Larry Bird in their prime.
So that would be Larry Bird.
Yeah. Because he's just a more skilled, you think, player on the court, one-on-one?
He was built more of a one. Larry Bird would probably beat LeBron one-on-one.
Really? Larry Bird would beat LeBron James one-on-one. Ooh.
Because one-on-one, it takes away from everything LeBron has, right? His physical strength, his speed, right? And, you know, all that power he has going. Well, in one-on-one, you're talking about 1-2 dribbles. That's not his
pointers. And
that's not his game.
Yeah.
That's Larry's whole game. LeBron needs to back up, and then I'm going to use all my physical attributes to come at you. So now if the game started at the 3-point line, now you're talking about a whole different. I mean, if you're talking about half court, if it started at the half court and we have as many dribbles as we want, then it changes. Then LeBron just excels to probably, you know, number 1 one-on-one player of all time, but it's usually, you know, spots, 1 dribble, 2 dribble pull up, 2 dribble get to the rim. That's not his game. You know, that's the Kyries, that's the Dame Lillards. Luka's probably good at that, you know, that category. So you have to, but that's what makes a great fourth quarter, last minute player. You know, the guys who can create off of nothing.
Well, I mean, speaking of guys that make stuff out of nothing, which didn't really work out this time around, was the Lakers and the Nuggets. The Lakers got swept 4-0.
You don't have to throw it in our face.
That's your team, right? That's your team. I mean, number 1, were you surprised?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I was surprised that it was a sweep. It just didn't make sense why no one else could help, right? Like just 12 points. You just averaged 12 for the series. You averaged 4, 3. You average, you know, our other guard, you average in 5. Like, you know, you guys average 10. We win this series. right? Especially after losing the first 2 games in Denver, where Denver played very well. We didn't play well, but we only lost by 3 or 5 points. So coming back home, this is good signs. But players just didn't show up in it.
Well, you had some words for D'Lo.
Yeah, listen. D'Lo's my guy, right? I was mad when they got rid of him, and then he becomes an all-star over in Jersey. Ice in your veins, D'Lo. So I'm not mad at the person. I'm not mad at D'Angelo Russell, D'Lo, ice veins. I'm just mad at that fourth quarter, this series player, right? I loved you in series 1 and 2. You got us there. You played well. This series, I'm not liking your performance. And that's how that is. So, you just got to separate it. First two rounds, D'Lo's my guy. This one, I don't like this D'Lo.
You actually said, you said you took 4 shots in an NBA elimination game. Get the fuck off my team.
Like I'm the owner, right? Like I'm the owner, right?
You make the decision. LeBron, after the post game, interview, he basically was like, he comes into the season every time to win a championship, so he considers this, a loss, a failure, and he's deciding whether he wants to come back or not. Do you think he's coming back?
No, yes, he's coming back. Like that's it's just when you lose, it's frustration talking. At that moment, heat of the moment, you have 40, then you look around and the players that you need are not really performing at just a decent level, right? And, my thing was with players, on the team, like, if you're taking this much time to work on your game, do the shit in the game. I don't need it after. And that's my thing with D'Lo. I don't need you taking 200 shots after a game, right? And you come to the game to shoot 4. Yes. No, that's not how that works. You took 200, fucking try to take 200 during the game too. Like, just be aggressive. Like, I would rather you go 0 for 15 versus saying, all right, I'm just going to go 1 for 2, 2 for 4. Like, no, that's not how this game is. This game is not won because if you miss your first two shots, you don't want to shoot anymore. That does not help me. I don't need another fucking passer out here. I am the passer, so I need you to be aggressive. As long as you're aggressive, and just like the last play, well, we can talk about LeBron James not shooting. Murray did a great job on reading the play, knowing that these guys haven't been shooting, so LeBron ain't passing it to them, and that was the point. D'Lo, if you was taking these shots early, I don't care if you ONT. Murray doesn't leave. These guys doesn't leave when LeBron's trying to drive because you're still a threat. You're still aggressive. I'd rather you go 0 for 10, 0 for 15 versus 2 for 4. 2 for 4 means you're just out here now.
Can you put it on LeBron? For example, when you look at like clutch players, when it gets down to it, like, the Jordans, the Kobes, like they don't even pass the ball at the end. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, just give it to them and they'll win the game for you. But LeBron didn't really pull that off this time. And does he really ever take that role of like, okay, just give it to LeBron and he'll win? Or is he more of a team player? He depends on everyone else to sort of win together.
To be the Michael Jordan and the Kobe, you have to have that gene, right? You have to have fast twitch muscles. That's like first 2 steps are very, very fast, very efficient, right? So there's only a handful of players that can do that.
Like who else?
You have Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
You have Booker. You have Jimmy Butler.
Iverson.
Paul Pierce.
Okay.
Dame Lillard. Okay. Even CJ McCullough.
But not LeBron.
Of course, KD. But yeah, LeBron.
Would you say Steph Curry? Steph's a little different.
It's weird because, it's I can't blame Steph for not being great in those moments, because in those moments during the development of where a guy develops that and gets that confidence, he's sitting. He was so dominant in the first 3 quarters, he never had to play in the fourth quarter for most of the beginning of his first couple of years. So, he don't really have the expertise of being in those moments. He has a few game winners under his belt, but he doesn't have a lot because he just blew you out first 3 quarters. He's sitting on the bench eating popcorn and shit, right? So I can't blame him and judge him and say he can't do it or he can. He just never had enough opportunity because, he was winning.
I mean, were you surprised that the Lakers beat the Warriors, though? Because that was a bit of a shock for me.
Nah, they're bigger. They're bigger. Like when you looked at the Warriors versus LeBron, and I said it before the series started, I'm like, well, Golden State has the same team, right? Minus KD. Well, LeBron has a better cast around him.
Yeah.
Than the last time they won. So when you take KD off the team, you take it back to 2000, the 16, 17 season. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm picking Lakers. Lakers have more. They're bigger. And this Golden State unit doesn't get to the basket like that. They're just going to rely on threes and jumpers, which means no one on the Lakers is going to be in foul trouble. It's going to be an easy one for them.
Well, I mean, Draymond, said that he felt that they failed overall because of him punching Jordan Poole. And then that caused a friction within the team.
That's just accountability, right? We don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
He's just a guy who's going to just take that blame and blame himself, which is very mature, right? It's easy to say, no, that didn't, we didn't. He just saying, hey, if you're going to blame somebody, just fuck it, just blame me. If I wouldn't have punched him, we probably would have won. That's you have to give Draymond credit for taking that responsibility of them failing because of, the team chemistry.
Ben Simmons, he was trolling the 76ers after they lost to Boston. What'd you think of that?
I loved it.
You loved it?
Especially for a guy who he gets so much heat, but he doesn't speak, right? He doesn't say anything. He doesn't bother anybody. So for him to finally troll is like, all right, finally, shit. Like, you don't hear nothing from the dude.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even say anything. He just posted a picture.
Yeah.
He was like, here you go,
right.
Watching the game.
But, it's one of those guys, I can understand the frustration that he had, right? He didn't play well offensively that series, but he played well defensively. Mm-hmm. Like Ben Simmons was first team all defense that year that he got booed by Philadelphia, right? He got booed. You're the worst person on the team. Everyone threw him under the bus and he's first team all defense. And then when you look back at that series, he actually did a great job defensively.
Yeah.
Right? So they're not giving him credit for what he's doing. They're just trying to say, well, you didn't shoot the ball. Well, my job is to get y'all the ball. So once you said you wanted to trade him, I can understand, why do I want to be here? If they don't want me, let me move on. I get it.
Stephen A. Smith, he called Ben Simmons sorry and trifling and said that he has no right to say anything about anyone.
Well, he didn't say anything.
You're right.
Technically, he didn't say anything. he didn't say anything, right? I mean,
yeah, fair enough.
Let's just be, let's if we're going to put blame on someone, I'm always going to blame the most talented and the most naturally gifted of the group. And that is going to be Embiid. Mm-hmm. Right? It reminds me of what Shaquille O'Neal was to Kobe Bryant, right? You have this guy who's hungry. He wants to win. He wants to be the best that he can be. And then he sees this ultra God-gifted player not tapping into his potential. You got Kobe sitting there coming in 3-4 times a day. Shaq is like, let me just show up when I show up, and then I'm gonna go out there and give you 30 and 18 rebounds. And Kobe's like, if you practice 3 times a day, no one on this planet can guard you. Right? That's the Embiid thing with me. Like, bro, you're so gifted. If you put in hours and hours and hours on your craft, you will be unstoppable to the point where Ben Simmons is just You supposed to be carrying this team with your dominance, but you're not, and we're blaming everyone else.
Well, yeah, I remember reading a story about how when Kobe first got into the league, when he got there, he assumed that everyone was coming in early, staying until the sun goes down, practicing on the weekends, watching tape. And when he got to the league, he's like, yo, everyone's partying, going to clubs, messing around with girls all the time. Like, he didn't get it. No. He was like, what the hell are y'all, like, this is supposed to be the NBA. Well, fuck this shit. I'm gonna do all that shit.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, like, When you looked at the teams that you played for, how many people had like a real, like, I am so happy to be here and I'm going to do everything within my power? Really? Including yourself?
No, I worked.
You worked.
See, so when I got drafted to Golden State, which was, at that time, a bad team. So, when you're rookies, you're trying to figure out what is everybody doing. And, I was fortunate to have, Mark Jackson, from Philadelphia, right? He was a worker, right? And he told me his story. He said, man, listen, I just signed a $25 million deal this summer. He said, I played 25 games, $25 million. He was like, I played the last 25 games, right? Everybody's fucking around bullshitting, and then everyone's hurt, faking injuries. They put me in 25 games, $25 million. He said, so don't pay attention to them, right? This is not what the NBA really is, right? And he started telling me stories, and then Mullen was coming back to the arena. So Chris Mullen is working with me, showing me how to be a pro. So I'm watching Mark Jackson, who's, working with me, then Chris Mullen. And then with Luke Walton came into the NBA, he's telling me about what Kobe's doing. So once he told me that, it was like, serious? Then I'll go to the gym really early and, you tell me Kobe's getting to the gym at 3:00 when I'm watching, okay, the first bus, second bus. So I know what time, the players get there. You're saying Kobe's getting there at 3? Bullshit.
3 a.m.?
3 p.m.
3 p.m. Okay.
So the game's at 7. The earliest person is around 5 o'clock. So I get there at 3. Sure enough, he's out there in full fucking sweat. Working like he's working like it's a game 7. Working like, we're not like, just getting shots up. He's really going through a full workout. Like, and then you're going to play this game? And then he goes out and plays the game. And I'm like, oh, this is different. This is what the greatness looks like. So that's who I wanted to watch all the time. So even in the NBA, I've been to the gym 3:00 from my second year all the way. And I only seen like multiple Kobe and Ray Allen.
That's it.
And Steve Nash a little bit.
Okay.
That came in around at 3, 4 o'clock. Other than that, you're in there by yourself.
Damn. Well, Stephen A. Smith said he never saw a superstar in Game 7 play as bad as James Harden played. He said that he should actually shave off his beard to hide his identity. Would you agree or disagree?
Did he shave his beard or that's the worst performance?
Worst performance.
I listen, I'm a James Harden fanatic.
Right.
And I usually hate that any game that goes to Game 7 and James Harden has to play it. I don't know what goes through his mind in Game 7. I don't know if, it's, I want to go home. I
play NBA 2K.
Like, I don't know if, I don't want to be the reason we lose. Let's give it to Embiid or give it to whoever. I don't know what goes through it, but the guy who came out Game 1, that's who should be coming out in all Game 7s, right? Your Game 7 is, you give me, this is the last game of this could be the last game of your basketball career.
Yeah.
Go out with a bang. That's what a Game 7 is. So the fact that, all Game 7s, he just, tries to, I don't know if he tries to be the point guard for the first time. I really don't understand it, but it's frustrating when, I'm, like you can go down, you can argue that you are one of the best scorers of all time. And, to go into Game 7s taking 4 or 5 fucking shots. No.
Right.
You're supposed to take fucking 50. Like, if you took 50 and y'all lost, I'm sitting there like, I don't give a shit. He shouldn't have passed it to Embiid. Like, that's me. The swag is on 1,000 still. Right? I'd rather you shoot, 50 shots than Embiid trying to go against Boston, which shows from history that he can't beat that team. Right?
Well, right. Because James Harden has 0 rings. I mean, I almost compare him to like a Charles Barkley. A very gifted player, but no rings.
That happens.
Came close a bunch of times.
Well, Charles did.
Yeah. Charles did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could say that, Harden does come close. It's not like they get knocked out of the, early on. I mean, he could have gone, he could have potentially gone to the finals, but.
Yeah, that year where they had the white them? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But, it is what it is. I mean, there's also the rumor that he's going to go back to the Houston Rockets. What do you think?
No.
No?
I mean, he
That's
might.
Over?
No. I'm pretty sure he would love to go back to Houston Rockets, but if I'm Houston Rockets, why would I want him back? Like, I mean, we've established that, we have young pieces. We're going to get another young piece this year. I have young pieces that I'm trying to develop in his position. So what do I want him here for? It's only going to be a negative. There's no positive that will come out of this, because even if he's scoring 40 a game, that means these guys are not developing. Individually, yeah, he's selling out the seats. He's doing everything he needs to do.
Yeah.
But for the rest of my team moving forward, he doesn't handicap the team. And that's the reason, like, somebody like Melo is out, right? I can't put Melo on a bad team, because he takes over that team. And I don't need a guy who's 38, 37.
Yeah, about to leave, yeah.
Being a main guy at this point. I need my young guys to get all this information so they can go through their mistakes. So when it's time to start winning, all those rookie mistakes and all those young mistakes are out of the window.
I mean, were you surprised that Carmelo retired?
It's not like he wanted to retire on his own.
No one would take him.
Yeah, there's only a few teams that will use a guy like him. I'm surprised that a team like Miami could have used him. Bucks could have used him.
I mean, like, it almost reminds me of like a John Sally situation. Remember how he joined the Lakers, and he wasn't really playing a lot, but he was just there to sort of, as an OG, to sort of help guide the younger players and everything else like that. I mean, listen, I don't think that Carmelo likes me very much. Last I checked, some of the comments I made, he DM'd me all angry at me. But at the end of the day, I still respect him as a player, and he has a hell of a career. No rings, but being on the Knicks for that long will kind of do that to you.
Yeah, you just being, just being loyal sometimes, being in situations when, you're trying to establish yourself as a star. It's hard to win. Like, I don't think people don't really understand the concept of how it works. If you're being drafted top 5, right? Especially top 3, you're going to a bad team, right? You're going to a bad team, which means the future of the NBA, the future of the sport is going to bad situations. Now, if they're individually successful, that means that bad situation is that bad that they, as rookies, can come in and dominate. Now, it is harder for them to win because they're technically starting from zero.
Yeah.
Trying to build this championship legacy from the ground floor. They're not like Magic Johnson. You're coming in. I don't know how y'all got the number 1 pick. I don't know how the Lakers got the number 1 pick, right? Like Tim Duncan. You guys get the number 1 pick on a team that had a bad year, but 56 wins the year before, bad year, championship. Oh, duh. Yeah, you sit, everyone. David Robinson, sit down. Ellie, sit down. So everyone sit down so we can tank it, get the number 1 pick, and then now, everyone's at it. Like,
right. I mean, a lot of coaches do that, though. They know they're having a bad season, so they purposely sit a bunch of their top players and have a bunch of losses to get a better pick next year.
But what ends up happening is you're given this big illusion of greatness, right? You're given an illusion of what greatness really is, right? You're hurting like the future star's greatness because you're not understanding that these guys are actually being drafted to the bottom feeding teams, these teams who's in bottom feeders and then now they have to build this championship. Now, if they don't build a championship after 6-7 years, they have to move somewhere. Now their legacy is tanked versus someone who they tanked the season. A good team tanked. They got this number 1 pick. Now he's added to a championship type of caliber team and they just needed 1 player. Now you're talking about this legacy. That's not a real thing, right? That's not a real thing. That's like Jokic and them wins the championship, and then next year they fucking Jokic gets hurt, so they start losing games. They fucking tank the rest of the season. Then they get the number 1 pick, and now you got Jokic coming back. Everyone coming back with the number 1 pick. Now this guy's greatness starts with
Jokic.
Right? What I mean, and that's the fucked up part about what the NBA is really about. So like the Carmelos and the LeBrons early, of course they had to They had to leave to go try to win.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Cavaliers were so bad after LeBron went to Miami.
But before.
Before, they're awful.
Yeah.
And then LeBron came and they won, champ.
No. They got to the finals.
Yeah.
He was 22 years old. Oh, you got swept. He got swept by a dynasty.
Right. But they got to the finals.
Yeah, but he got to the finals at 22.
Exactly.
And then from there.
Then he went to Miami.
Yeah,
but after he left, the Cavaliers became the worst team in the NBA.
Mm-hmm. That's how good he was.
The worst team in the NBA. They had the worst record of any team after LeBron.
And just
he carried that on his back. On his back. Well, here's another thing. Kevin Durant and the Suns. They got eliminated early. Most of them thought that they were going to go to the finals.
Mm-hmm. Me? I was one of them.
You were one of them. Were you surprised?
No, but yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised because just the talent alone should have got them. But the matchup, you're matching up with a very disciplined, it's like playing in college. It's like playing a Wisconsin or a Princeton type of team, a team that just thrives on backdooring, the super athletic and, it's counter reading. When you're going against an offense like that and thinkers like that, you really have to really focus those games. So, for the Suns, that wasn't just let's just run up and down and see who can outscore who has this. This one's more of who's the smartest on the group. So once they lost Chris Paul, it was really kind of hard because he would have controlled more of that tempo and, put more discipline into, the defensive side. So I was really shocked, but wasn't surprised because, who they played against. Just like us, we lost to them. I'm not surprised. I'm only going Lakers because that's my team. I can't be like, fuck, we got to play Denver. We lost. You're gonna, wish for the best.
Well, speaking of the Lakers, Kwame Brown had a whole rant about LeBron that started to go somewhat viral.
Uh-huh.
By the way, Kwame was mad at me. He made a whole video about me because we had posted one of his videos on our website. And I guess we didn't use his YouTube channel embed. We used someone else's, which really happens every day. Like the amount of people that post Vlad TV content that doesn't come from our YouTube channel is literally hundreds of times a day. He got all mad at me and made a whole video about me and everything else like that. Kwame, it wasn't personal, just so you know. I know you and I have had our back and forth a couple of times, but at the end of the day, number one, I don't even do the postings on the website. I have a whole staff of writers. You know what I'm saying? So if you think it was somehow a slight, because I remember he even had someone reach out on his behalf that, and so forth. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. But he had his rant about LeBron. And you and Kwame have had an interesting history. You guys were on live not too long ago. Mm-hmm. What did you think about the rant? Do you think it was justified or do you think he was hating?
Well, so I actually did a response to it yesterday. Okay. And for Kwame, it was a C. Right? It's not like this ain't a rant that will make you respond to it. It wasn't like I'm still wondering, like, Shannon, what was the point of even responding to this? This is not the Ja rant was a rant. Like, yo, you took this one personal, right? It was like, Kwame, you took this one you didn't really take as personal. You just, you're commentating, like some of the things you're off on, right? Saying you should have been good and Kobe and Jordan and, he mentioned me, I would have took them shots, but you're comparing a 38-year-old to 20-year-olds, right? Oh, Jokic would have took this shot 20, Luka would have took the shot 20. When I played with Kobe 20, like you can't compare a 30-year-old man, to what 20-year-olds would have done, right? We're, the guys that Kareem didn't do this at, Kareem wasn't playing like this at 38, right? Jordan wasn't playing like this at 38. Kobe wasn't playing like this. Dirk wasn't playing like this at 38. So you're off on what you're saying, but it wasn't one of those personal attacks that, Kwame usually does. So I was still confused on why Shannon would even respond to this one.
Shannon, when speaking about Kwame Brown, he said he's on the Mount Rushmore of busts.
I don't see nothing wrong with it. Right? Listen, when you jump into the basketball world, and I always tell Kwame this, right? When you jump into the sports world, bro, your resume is going to keep coming up, right? So no matter what takes you say, we're gonna throw your resume at you. Period. So if you're not strong enough to take your resume, stay the fuck out the pot. You know, that's just it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, when Shaq and Barkley go at it, Shaq will constantly remind him about how many rings he has.
That's just the nature.
That's just what's gonna happen.
Listen, that's just the nature of it. No matter, even with me, when I talk about players, they're gonna say, "Well, how many rings did you win?" None, but I can buy them. I can buy them. I know Jason the jeweler sells them for about 20K.
Wait, that's how much an NBA ring costs?
What about, for like family and friends? It's about 20K.
About 20K.
Mm-hmm.
That's it?
Yeah.
Huh. That'd be worth a little more than that. Well, I guess there's a lot of them out there, though. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's the value is not you buying it. The value is the name, right? So all rings have to have the last name, right? So if I get okayed from like Kobe, right? I got the okay for Kobe to make me the same ring. And
they make it. You don't have to talk about buying a second hand.
No, you make the ring, right? So
so an NBA champ can make multiple copies of his ring?
Yes.
Really?
Family and friends. So like if you're a player, so like let's say Kobe, right? Kobe would say, "Hey, I need 2 extra rings for my parents," right? So what ends up happening is those go under Bryant. Okay. So his personal rings will have Bryant, right? Now, if he says, "And I'm okaying Gilbert to have one," that ring goes under Arenas.
Do you have any rings from other players?
Yes.
Really? From who?
I have all Kobe's rings.
Really?
All 5, yep.
You have 5 of Kobe's rings?
All 5. So they will have Arenas, they wouldn't have Bryant.
Okay, can you sell those rings or no?
I can sell them, yeah.
Okay.
But it wouldn't be valued.
Because it's not his original ring. It's a copy of his ring.
No,
I see what you're saying. It's original, but it's not his actual ring that he wore on his finger.
Yeah, but
which would be worth way more.
But his mother, no. So the way the sellers were the sellers would know it is because of the last name on them. Mm-hmm. So all the ones that's for Kobe himself will have Bryant. So he'll have Bryant for himself, Bryant for Vanessa, Bryant for his mother and father. So if those rings hit the market, they would be $200,000-300,000. So the one here, even though it looks exactly the same, is part of his. Mine will have Arenas on it. So I can't put the Bryant name on mine.
Oh.
I can't put Gilbert on mine. I can't put Agent Zero on mine. It will be Arenas.
Okay, so all of Kobe's rings that you own say Arenas.
Arenas.
It doesn't say Kobe
or
Bryant
say Bryant
or nothing.
No, it won't say Bryant.
Okay, so the value of it is...
So the value of it is just...
Probably what you paid for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I have to be okayed. For you to have the ring, the same exact ring from them has to be okayed from them. So like with LeBron, right? LeBron's bubble ring, I get his okay. So like, yo, Jason, I got LeBron's okay. He would hit you. So, but it won't say James. It'll say Arenas. But you have to get the okay from a player or someone high personnel to get that duplicate.
Got it. Well, let's talk about NBA YoungBoy's #1 fan. Ja Morant. Nobody has lost more as an NBA YoungBoy fan than Ja Morant. Nobody.
That could be true.
Nobody has sacrificed more to jam out to his music than Ja Morant. Because 2 months after his strip club incident where he pulled out a gun on social media, him and his friends were riding around listening to YoungBoy. And at one point, even though, because I remember in the beginning, I was blaming his man. I was like, yo, this is the face you make when you just lost your man, like tens of millions of dollars. But then I realized that before you saw the gun in the video, Ja put his face all in the phone, knowing he's on live. He knew he was on live. It's not like he was just fucking around. His man just pulled out the phone. He didn't even know it. He knew he was on Instagram Live, and something compelled him to actually pull out a pistol and wave it around. 150 people were watching this Instagram Live. 150 people. And one of them happened to record it, which makes a lot of sense because, oh shit, Ja Morant's on live. Oh, hell yeah, I'm recording this.
You know what's so funny? Has anybody, when everyone who's watched this, when you do the replay, we've never seen the gun yet, right?
We saw the gun.
On the replay?
Yes.
You saw it.
Absolutely.
Or do you see it because of someone took a still picture?
No, I saw it. I froze it.
Oh, you froze it yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, because as soon as it happened, everyone's tagging me like, yo, Vlad.
Okay.
You seen this shit?
Because, when you tried it, it's still, you don't see it.
No. I remember I saw the video. I freeze framed it to make sure, because you don't want to throw out an allegation like that. Especially, listen, Vlad TV is still Vlad TV. We could still be sued. And you know what I'm saying? So if I ever say, and this was like, we put it up like maybe 10 minutes after it happened. So it was like, yo,
it's that quick.
Is this really a gun? And I freeze framed it, and I'm like, oh, that's absolutely a gun. And then you see other freeze frames where you could actually see like the actual, the details of the pistol and everything else like this. And this is 2 months later. The commissioner was very disappointed in this whole situation, because he said that him and Ja actually met up and had a serious conversation about it. And look, at the end of the day, I know he wasn't on the court. I know he was, this was just him having his personal time. And I know that you're allowed to have a gun. I own guns, right? But never in my life, and you could talk to anyone that's ever known me, have I ever been in a group of people and pulled out a gun and just waved it around. Especially because that gun was probably loaded. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know. But why would you carry around a gun that's not loaded? You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, like what's the point?
Scare tactics.
Scare tactics. I get it. As someone who has been through his own set of gun issues in the NBA, number one, the first time that Ja Morant pulled out the gun, what'd you think?
In the strip club?
In the strip club.
For what? Right. Right. You're in the middle of getting a lap dance, enjoying life, probably drinking, ass and titties everywhere, money flying everywhere. You're on social media. What makes you think to grab the gun to show it? It's still, to this day, I'm like I'm looking through the feed, like, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you showing? When someone's like, yeah, I'm on your head, bitch. Like, no, you ain't. Like, what the like, I'm trying to figure out what.
Pull up.
Yeah, like, what's the point? Like, right, what's the point? You're in the middle of a fun fucking activity.
Yes.
You're in the middle, you got your fucking shirt off, you're sweating, fucking money everywhere. What makes you just, like, it's the fucking weirdest flex, bro.
Especially after you just got past a very serious situation that involved a gun, allegedly. Remember the whole situation with the 17-year-old?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Listen, that makes sense, right?
Okay.
That makes sense.
I got it.
You're fucking basketball. Trust me, when you're in fucking the basketball heated moment and you called the foul or the fucking called the foul too many times, like, that's his own little thing. Like, I'm going to come back, get to the car. Don't be here when I get back. We done all done that shit, right?
I got it.
Right? So that makes sense.
More sense than what happened in the strip club.
You're in a strip club, having fun, enjoying life. That does not make sense. 2 months later, you're in the middle of having fun, right? Y'all just did a video on top of the car. Don't know what kind of video you were doing, but you're on top of the car, having fun, on live. You're in the car, vibing out. What makes you grab a gun?
The NBA YoungBoy spirit just got in him. He probably thought he was NBA YoungBoy at that very moment. He decided to pull the blicky out.
Yeah, but that's like it seems like I don't know. Like, when I guess if you're listening to like somebody talking about, racks on racks on racks, and you pulling out your racks on racks on racks, trying to mimic what's being said in that moment of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, then I will get it. Some young people shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't say, yo, that's not young people shit, because, if you're a college senior and you're a frat kid, I'm pretty sure kegs and doing dumb shit, probably you do.
Yeah.
I've been there. You got to look back on life and be like, yo, what the fuck was I thinking? That would have ruined my career if anybody ever would have found out. At 23 with money, doing stupid shit. We can all say, when I was 23, well, when you're 23, did you have 40 million a year? Did you have all this money to your disposal?
Sneaker deal?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you didn't. Yeah, like you didn't feel like God at 23. Yeah. He does, right?
Well, yeah, and the thing is, it's like, think about all the time we've known each other. All the time we spent together, interviews, hanging out afterwards, everything else like that. Have I ever pulled out a phone and went on live around you?
No, but like,
you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't even think to do that around somebody of any level of stature. But I wouldn't even think to do that.
I know, but that's you thinking today.
Yeah.
Now let's give you, how many times have you told in the middle of an argument, right, with one of the celebrities, well, pull up then. I don't care. Let's just pull up.
I've done that before.
All right, you done that before?
I've done it before. I did it recently, actually.
Recently? Now.
I won't say with who. Now. It's actually a former NBA player.
Now, okay,
who was talking shit to me. I'm like, yo, pull up.
Okay, so
I'm going to see you. I'm like, okay, come on.
Now
we're Van Nuys. Let's go.
Now let's give you all your star power today and put that at 23 years old. Right? A young, vibrant, like it's a different
a young millionaire Vlad.
And that's where he's at. Even though like we're smarter with our pull up on me, right? We're smarter with how we say it and how we do it and what we really mean and right.
And also, if I say pull up, I'll say, yo, you could pull up and do an interview with me anytime. Me and Annalie Chopper, for example, that's a public example that I can tell you. Me and Annalie Chopper started going at it. He talked shit about me. I dissed him back. And we started going back and forth. And he was like, yeah, I can't wait to see you. I'm going to give you a big hug. I'm like, you can see me whenever you like. You can pull up. If you're a man, you can pull up. We could do an interview in person anytime you want. And he came in and did an interview.
Okay. Yeah.
And we hugged it out. And it was all good. You know what I'm saying? But granted, before that situation, me and him got on the phone and had a conversation. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't like, okay, when we pull up, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But now we both got security. There might be a shootout. Yeah. I'm just saying, but yeah, you're right.
But now if you're 23, same age as him, that ain't no pull up and do an interview. You're not saying pull up and do an interview. Let's pull up and let's handle this. So, we have to really think about that age and then think about the age and give us all this.
No, I get it.
Like even like a Shannon Sharp, right? On the court, right? With the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Right?
He got into it.
Right?
Yeah.
Now let's take that same Shannon Sharp and make him the actual NFL player at the time. That's a different Shannon Sharp. Right? At least this one is
more aggressive, probably.
More aggressive and probably would have swung.
Bigger ego.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so if we can see how you acted then, even though you're still reacting, off of your straight nature, you still have respect. Like, I know I can't touch them, but hey, T, I can get to you, right? I can get to you, even though you're not, right? Yeah. You're still making a threat, but you're not. You're still a grown up, right? Understanding that I'm still a grown up. I'm not really, I just want them to know this ain't no easy win over here. Yeah. Now, if this was a 23-year-old Shannon Sharp, yeah, you probably would have. You're the same age. Yeah, you probably would have knocked the whole Grizzlies. We wouldn't have had to worry about them in the playoffs, right? And that's all I try to do. It's like, hey, hold on. Before we even attack the 23-year-old, let's put ourselves back at that age with the fame we have now. We're gods. And we're going to act like gods, and that's who we're going to be.
Now, listen, I mean, like I said, when you said if you ever asked someone to pull up, I had to think about it and be like, well, yeah, actually I have. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, listen, I mean, I'm not a tough guy, but, I got real money and I have real security. Yeah. And, I'm not scared of anyone. Because I feel like you shouldn't be scared of anyone. Now, you should take precautions with certain people, but you shouldn't be scared of anyone. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel you. Okay, so after the first incident, Ja got suspended for 7 games. Right?
Kinda. Suspended or sent home or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Well, he didn't play 7 games.
Yeah.
And he was the star on the team. So you could say suspended, right? All right.
We got to, use our words carefully. Suspended means they actually penalized them or just say, hey, stay home.
He didn't lose money for those 7 games? We don't know. Well, but he actually did lose money because of that whole situation, he didn't make the All-NBA team, which contract-wise lost him $39 million.
Yeah.
Now, that's a fact.
Yeah, it is.
$39 million. He would have absolutely made the All-NBA team.
It's a fact, yes, but it's not a guarantee that he would have made it, right? It's not a guarantee.
Ja Morant, when you look at the top players in the NBA right now. Where would you put them? Top 5?
Top players?
Yeah. Overall.
Top 15.
Top 15. That low.
With a very high ceiling though.
Okay.
You know, it's different. Like LeBron, you're on a lower, you're moving downward. But you know, Ja, I will put him probably top 15, but with a high trajectory.
I see what you're saying. So to make the top NBA, to make the all NBA team, they pick 15 players. So I see what you're saying. By you putting up number 15, he's sort of
you know,
he can go either way.
No, he can't go down. He's going up, right?
But he could be 16, is what you're saying.
No.
So so you're proving my point then. So he would have made the all NBA team had it not been for that whole fiasco.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could have. Like on a higher end, yes.
39 million.
Yeah.
$39 million.
But it's 39 million he didn't touch. He was like, when you say penalize, you guys are looking at the future, right? Well, no one cares about future. Oh, I would have I would have hit the lottery too, right? You know, if I would have played the lottery.
Little different. No. Winning the lottery and making the all-NBA team as John Morant are very different conversations.
No, what's different is if someone went in your bank account and took out 39 million. That's fucking different because that's money I actually fucking had.
Okay, fair enough.
Versus I would have got.
But it was very likely.
Yes, but
it was very likely.
But still, I can make that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it, but I can get it in other shit. I can say I can do other things to get that 39 million. You take 39 million out of my fucking wallet, that's a fucking hit.
I got you.
Hey, you changed my behavior. Fucking fantasy money I haven't had yet. I ain't fucking. It's fucking fantasy money, bro.
A lot of fantasy money.
That's what I'm saying. It's money. I'm
sure that was money he spent in his head already. I'm sure he was counting on that.
Listen, when it comes out of your account, like games that's missed, right? Or lawyer fees hurts more. Because that's money you already made and you got to fucking write actual checks versus money you didn't get yet.
Well, when it all happened, Nike took his sneakers off their site.
Stupid.
But they just released a new sneaker of his that sold out in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So he still has a deal with Nike. That's not going anywhere.
When it happened, when Nike took it off, right? I said, what is the point? Why do companies remove the product, right? It's a pointless thing to do. The reason is, if nobody wants it, they're just not going to buy it, period, right?
But that wasn't the reason. I mean, it's not like nobody wanted the Kyrie Irving sneaker and he lost his entire deal.
Yeah.
Right?
I get it. But I mean, now you're just sitting there with, like, listen, I'm a businessman, right? If I'm going to get rid of them, I'm going to sell all the product first. I'm not going to be stuck with a whole warehouse full of fucking Kyrie Irvings.
Yeah,
I'll donate it to whoever I need to donate it to.
No, right. But I mean, when it comes to these high-level corporations like Nike and Adidas and stuff like that, it's not about actual, current profit and loss. They're looking 5-10 years down the line. So if they have, what's essentially a toxic personality that they are assigned and is the face of the brand, they have to cut their losses. Like for example, with Kanye and Adidas, like they lost a lot of money by no longer having Yeezys, right? And they're finally figuring out, okay, we're just going to sell off the rest of what we got and we'll donate to the NAACP and George Floyd's family and Kanye will get a little cut, whatever else. And we'll go out of the red a little bit. But if you notice, it doesn't seem like Yeezy and Adidas are in business anymore after this. No, it's a wrap.
I know there's bigger entities where, when you're talking about head funding and all that stuff and, and there's bigger money than this athlete. And it's like, hey, hold on, he's pissing me off. If you want our donation, if you want our backing still, you're going to have to drop them. I get it. Right. I'm thinking about the company and the player, not the top in the company.
Right.
So now I understand that, some of these moves have to be made because there's bigger entities than, what I was looking at. Right. But with someone like Ja, there's no enemy. He is the enemy of himself.
Oh yeah.
So
Ja's definitely his own worst enemy.
Yeah. So, there's no victim that you can really say, we're taking your shoes. We're going to get rid of you. There's no victim here but him. of his stupidity.
Yeah, no,
so
he didn't pull out a gun on somebody.
yeah, so the kids don't care what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? They just where the fucking shoes at.
Well, look, he got, however you want to look at it, he didn't play 7 games, this past season because of the first gun charge. And, the commissioner really said, like, I had a serious conversation with him. I explained to him, just how dangerous these acts are. That the gun could go off and kill somebody or himself or whatever else. Once again, he's waving around a gun in a car full of people. What do you think will happen? Because it's not the team that actually suspends players. It's the NBA itself, right? In situations like this.
The team.
Oh, really? So you're saying the commissioner has nothing to do with this?
Can't.
Really?
He has he has power, but he technically don't have no power unless there's a crime. So the only way the NBA steps in is after they do their investigation, they can penalize after the investigation is done.
Okay, because, the Grizzlies announced that Ja Morant is suspended from all team activities for the moment. What do you think will happen with Ja Morant and the Grizzlies? A longer suspension?
Okay, wait, first of all.
A slap on the wrist?
First of all, the suspension of what he has right now is actually nothing.
Because, his season is over, so it's whatever.
So there's no team activity.
Exactly.
It's just bullshit. Right?
Exactly.
Right. So,
But this is going to roll over into next season, you would assume. Or it may not.
There's nothing, to be honest, just hard facts. There's nothing that fucking they can do. So if he wanted to stand tall and say, what the fuck did I do illegally? The answer is nothing. So fuck off. He can technically do that, right? I didn't do nothing that broke any rules. There's no investigation going on by Memphis. So if there's no investigation by the police, there's nothing the NBA can do. They can try to say, all right, Grizzlies, we're going to fine you or whatever. They can try to pull one of those. So go over Ja's head and go to the Grizzlies themselves and say, you're going to have to do something. They can pull that card.
The NBA, you mean?
The NBA can go to the Grizzlies and say, you're going to have to fine them for at least 2 games or whatever. But at the end of the day, there's nothing that can happen technically. If they don't want it to happen, if Grizzlies like, I'm not fucking starting my season off without my player, there's nothing the NBA can do.
When you sign these types of NBA deals, are there clauses about waving around guns or anything else like that? None.
No.
So this is all at the discretion of the team and how it's perceived in the public.
It's like sportsmanlike conduct, right? There's no fucking real rule on what it means. We just understand what it is, right? So when you get that superstar tag, you inherit responsibilities, period. Right? And those responsibilities is protecting the brand, not doing dumb shit, right? Waving a gun, having fun, it's called dumb shit. Going to a gun range, that's decent shit, right? If you're outside the gun range,
if
you're going
went to a gun range and shot off his gun, I don't think anyone would say anything of that.
If he was outside of a gun, let's say that happened, and then 10 minutes later, he's inside of a gun range doing something, no one says anything.
No, I don't know about that.
It doesn't.
Wait, man, listen. Like,
because what he's doing is there's nothing wrong with what he's doing.
Look, this reminds me of my conversation with Tony Yayo. Someone who's had a lot of experience with guns. Shooting them, shooting people, or shooting at people. Should I say, getting shot at himself, and so forth. The one thing he said that really resonated with me, because this is the way that I think, he said, it's a gun. It's not a toy. You don't put a dress on it. You don't play dress up with it. You don't play around with it. It's a gun. It's a very specific tool for a very specific thing.
And you see it every day. You see people shoot themselves.
Yep.
Because I know people that shot themselves. You see people shoot their friends by accident. You see people shoot their girlfriends by accident. So a gun is like nothing to play with. You never put a skirt on your gun, put a dress on your gun, got to show it off. When my era, we never did that. We don't play around with guns. It's for one thing and one thing only. You understand what I'm saying? So playing around with a weapon is a dangerous thing.
Right? You don't wave it around in a room full of fucking people. It could go off. Like Jason Williams, the best example. Jason Williams is not a thug or a gangster or anything else like that. He just liked guns. And he had a bunch of people at his house and he's showing off his shotgun and it goes off and it kills his driver.
I heard that. I remember that.
He was crying in our interview talking about this. Actual tears were pouring down his face because he felt so bad about it. He wasn't trying to scare anyone. He was just showing off a gun and waving it around, and it went off and killed somebody. An innocent person.
Mm-hmm.
I was reckless. I'm sorry. I take full responsibility to that. I pay my debt to society, and there's not a day that goes by where I don't think that I did enough.
I have multiple guns in my house. I keep locks on them. No one else has access to them. You don't wave them around because it could go off and it completely fuck up your life and or someone else's forever.
I'm only laughing because you said they're locked, right?
Yeah.
So if someone breaks into your house, how are you going to get to those locked guns? You're going to say, hey, hold on.
I got a way to get to
it. I was going to say, hold on, time out, let me get to my guns first.
I got a way to get to
it. It just makes it funny when you think about locked and then someone breaks in. Now you got to go remember the code, little shit like that.
It's all set up.
Okay,
I got it all worked out.
Like, hold on, freeze. I didn't expect you to come in.
I know what you're saying. Okay. I know what you're saying, but
So that was just the funny thing.
I have a system.
Okay.
Where I could go and unlock them in safety,
Okay. Just making sure.
It's all good. It's all good. I feel
But my thing is this. I can't condemn someone for what could have happened. Right? And I think that's what we do as society. Right? When we see something, we already think the worst possibility.
I see where you're going with this, but there's also basic gun safety.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's not an opinion. There are facts around basic gun safety.
Yes.
I don't care what could or could not have happened. If I pulled out a gun and pointed it in your face right now, you would freak the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And I would be considered a reckless person in order to do that.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I could say, well, why are you so mad? I didn't shoot you.
Mm-hmm.
You're fine. It didn't go off. Why are you tripping?
Facts. But that's a great argument though.
But
it didn't go off, so why are you mad?
Right. But there's very basic gun safety that really is just like insane. Because look, you could say, I understand what you're saying right now, but you did an interview with the New York Times. When you saw the second video, you thought it was an old video.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said, once I realized it was a new one, there was nothing else to say. The fact that you keep wanting to do things you're doing, then you must want to see how invincible you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
Your words.
Yeah.
And this goes off your own gun situation because you brought guns to an NBA locker room and allegedly, allegedly there was guns around, which ultimately caused a 50-game suspension with you. Right?
Yeah.
Well, it was that situation on top of you essentially mocking the whole gun thing on the court, right? Where everyone surrounded you and did the little gun thing and you fell and whatever else, right? But that right there cost you 50 games and it cost you your sneaker deal.
Yes.
Which was a $40 million sneaker
deal? $40 million deal.
39 million here, 40 million there. You can relate to this situation. It's only $1 million apart. So obviously this hits you closer than most other people. I mean, when you heard about this genre, and really your gun, you had one gun situation, but there was multiple instances that caused.
Yeah, well, mine is a little different because I'm technically not in public, right? I mean, we can say the arena's public, but that's really our safety.
No, you're in the locker room,
right? I never touched one, never waved one, no fingerprints on any of them, right? So, right? So
allegedly,
no, that's not. That's real.
Okay, fair enough.
That's real.
Well, because you actually there was a police investigation in your situation, right? And you had to plead guilty to a felony.
Yeah, I pleaded guilty to a felony,
and that's how you lost your Adidas deal. Well, and you said something interesting in this article. You said, in terms of your whole gun situation, you said, I think it affected. I don't even want to say legacy, but my name. It affected it really bad. I said it back then. Or the most disappointing part of all of it is that you do 100 things right, but you do one thing wrong and everyone remembers that. That's what really hurts you the most. So you had one situation, and even though you had all these incredible stats on the court and you were a superstar player, but everyone remembers the gun thing when it comes to your name.
Yep.
If Gilbert Arenas comes up in a rap song, It has something to do with a gun. If Gilbert Arena starts trending on Twitter,
It's because of a gun.
something gun and sports related.
Yep.
Is that annoying to a certain degree considering the caliber that you played at?
No,
No?
because I really understood like the behavior of what accountability is, right? We all, everyone wants people to be accountable for their actions, but I don't think they actually know what accountability is, because when you do be accountable, no one erases it, right? Right? It's like I made a mistake. You want me to take responsibility. You want me to be accountable. You want me to grow from it. Yeah. Okay, cool. I do these things, change your behavior, never do it again. You don't erase it. You just keep the shit there, and then you just keep reminding me that I fucked up. Then what the fuck did I need to change for if you're going to keep trying to use it against me, right? That's once you realize that, hey, when you fuck up, they're going to keep using it.
Yeah.
Right? So you better be willing and understand, no matter what you do, 10, 20 years from now, whatever the fuck you did, they're going to keep bringing it up. So adapt that shit. So 10 years when you're sitting at a speech and you're giving out some speech, someone's going to bring up 20 years ago, and you better ready to be answered for it. And that's just the way life is.
Yeah, it's almost like having a felony on your record.
Mm-hmm.
You could have your felony. You can go to prison. You could do your 10 years. You can get out. And then when you go to get an apartment, they could legally deny you because of your felony. When you go and get a job, you can say, hey, listen, man, I messed up. And I know I messed up. And I gave up 10 years of my life because I messed up. We don't want any felons working here. Fuck you.
Yeah. But that's what I said. There's no accountability is not a real thing.
And it's legal too.
It's not a real thing.
Yeah.
That's what I said. It's like we want it, but it's not a real thing.
It's really forever punishment.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Ja Morant will never get past this gun thing in terms of people's memory.
No one will let him.
No one will let him.
So there's
his career could flourish and he could never do this again, and he could get 20 rings and
20
MVPs.
20 rings, and when his legacy goes down, and
he could build a school in South Africa and colonize Mars.
When he passed away, there's going to be a reporter that mentions this. Unfortunately. 30, 50, 100 years, someone's going to remember. It's just that's what they do.
Right. Just how that one, who was it, Gayle King, mentioned the Kobe rape thing after he died.
No matter what.
And everyone was like, oh, that's awful for saying that. But a lot of people were saying it, unfortunately. Because it's just, you're right.
That's what
it's forever punishment.
Because it's exactly. So the in reality, when we think about it, that's why when you have these groups, right? These groups. And I say groups are the worst thing for humankind, because at the end of the day, when they force you to change and you change, they're like, well, fuck that. We don't like that you change, and we want to still be able to beat you up. So we're going to keep fucking with you anyway. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, then what was the point? I might as well just double down and say, keep fucking you. All right? That's really the point, because at the end of the day, the groups are never going to grow. They don't grow. Mentally, they don't grow because they want to keep everybody where they are, no matter what you do. They're going to keep you right here. You can't grow. Once they said, fuck you, it's been fuck you. They can tell you to jump through all the holes.
Well, but to be fair, the groups, the mob, as I like to say, like I think it was like Plato basically said that like you can't have true democracy because it becomes mob rule, essentially. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But the mob, social media, whatever you want to call it these days, will never let you forget. Mm-mm. But if you do take responsibility for your actions and you do go through certain steps, the corporations, the people who actually cut the checks, will accept your apology and allow you to continue in your career.
Some.
I
mean, some people who,
some not people, all. I mean, it all depends. And a lot of times it comes down to the doubling down of things. Like, for example, like when Scott Adams put out all that racist shit, Gilbert, Scott Adams, you know about the story? Mm-mm. Okay. So, you ever heard of the cartoon Dilbert?
Dilbert. Yeah.
Dilbert. Uh-huh. It's been around for 35 years.
Yeah, Dilbert. Yeah, I'm Gilbert. So yeah, I know. Yeah.
Gilbert, right. There we go. So Scott Adams, who I've interviewed before, went on this rant about how Black people are a hate group And when he chose where he lived, he tried to find an area where there was as few black people as possible and that type of shit. And I remember when this video came out, I called him. Well, I started texting him because I know him. I'm like, yo, like, this is really like repulsive what you're saying. This is really offensive. And you know what I'm saying? Like saying shit like that is really upsetting to a lot of people. And he was like, oh, you're a fucking racist. You know, you're being racist to me right now. And he doubled down on it. You know what happened? He lost everything. He had his whole syndication for his comic strip got dropped by everyone. His book deals got dropped, everything. Now, look, he's still a multimillionaire and it is what it is. But in terms of the content that he was putting out through corporations was done. And that's that.
Now, what if he changes his behavior and then 4 or 5 years from now, he's a new man, right?
We'll see what happens.
And what's going to happen is, let's say he starts getting a job, those same people who canceled him the first time, he's going to come back.
Of course
they're going to try to come back and try to cancel him again. It's like, how are you going to cancel me for the same thing that I've already done?
And it might work or it might not. And a lot of times it comes down to the sincerity of people taking responsibility for their actions. But I think most corporations, I mean, like, look, Nick Cannon said what he said and he lost Wild 'N Out, but then eventually he did, you know, he apologized and MTV gave him the show back and he's doing well again. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Kanye said what he said. We'll see what holds, you know, what the future holds in a few years. Right now, nobody's fucking with him, but it's not like he's not a...
But he hasn't apologized or changed his behavior.
No, at all. Although he did say he likes Jews again after seeing, what was that movie? 21 Jump Street or something like that? Seth Rogen.
But that's him. See, like with him, it's like, it's hard to really like, because it like 21 Jump Street really like.
Yeah, it was silly. 4 NBA coaches who either won a championship or recently coached a team to the finals got fired. Doc Rivers, Nick Nurse, Monty Williams, and Mike, I always mess up his last name, Budenhauser?
MB.
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 There we go. We're all messing up, right?
MB.
Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, I am surprised that you're firing top tier.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're firing top tier, what is the game left with? It's just a weird way of thinking that we get rid of the top tier when they don't perform top tier, but they're still performing way better than the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I was 1 this year. I went to 3rd this year. I'm fired. The fuck? Yeah. Last place was last place last year. The last place this year. They get to keep their job?
Yeah. They still
the fuck is this? You know what I mean? But that's reality. That's what our realities became. We're penalizing greatness when it slips a little bit, but the bottom gets to keep having fun.
Well, is it because the stakes are a lot higher in a top team versus a bottom team, and the money might be a lot different?
No, I mean, you have bottom coaches making the same amount as top tier.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
I got a job, right? I got a job to do. I'm preparing these guys. You're going to pay me $5 million a year. You look at the contracts. It's going to be roughly the same, but it's still it's not like I'm going from first to last, right? Let's say at the end of the season they were planning on firing Spo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Went to the championship, won 3 championships, was first last year, and then started off this year bad as an 8th seed. Typically, this guy would have been fired. Look at him. He's about to be in the championship with that same team, even though he was 8th seed this year, right? They had to play in a play-in game, right? Technically, he would have been fired for the bad performance.
Mm-hmm.
But greatness, great coaches, they perform. You're erasing great coaches, which means who are you replacing them with?
Right.
Nobody's. Bad. It's bad. It's bad. Like if we at AAU, same thing. College or high school coaches, right? They'll go and play this team. They'll beat this team by 100 fucking points, right? You know who gets suspended? The coach who won by 100. Why the guy who got beat by 100 gets to go to fucking work like it never happened? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? The guy who prepared his team to beat the shit out of you is the one who gets suspended and on leave and he can't get his paycheck. And then the guy who just got embarrassed for not working hard keeps his paycheck with no penalty. And that's what's been going on with society. We're penalizing the strong and telling the weak that, hey, you're fine. Keep up the good work. Keep being a loser.
I mean, why do you think that they got fired? I mean, you're right. When you say it like that, it's sort of like, I mean, yeah, you didn't win the finals, but you came pretty damn close.
Well, you know, we lost. You know, I missed this guy the whole year. This guy got
injured. How was I supposed to prepare for that? Yeah.
Out of the fucking 6 games I had, the 5 games, I didn't have my best players. Ass was hurting. Why am I being fired? Like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? The elements didn't allow me. Yeah, we were number 1, but the elements didn't allow me to perform. Like, I don't have my best player. He got hurt. So you take him off the team, technically we're fucking trash. Right? We're decent, but we're not better. Technically, we're not better than the team we're playing against, because the team we're playing against was number 1 last year. Mm-hmm. They didn't lose anybody. So technically, it's 2 number 1s playing against each other. They just had a horrible year. We're number 1. They should really be number 2. So we're playing against them, but now we don't have our best player. They have their best player. Right? And we see the outcome, and you're firing me for it.
Yeah.
Right? And I just don't like that notion, because the notion is you become the scapegoat. Because technically, the coach is the chef, right? He's the chef. Well, there's someone, the owner, the house owner, is buying the food that you got to cook. Mm-hmm. Now, if he's not pulling in the right ingredients that you have on paper, and I'm supplementing bullshit, and I can go cheaper on here and do all this, and then I expect the same gourmet meal. Right? And that's what ends up happening.
Right. It was also the GM, of course.
Yeah, so the GM is the cook. I mean, the GM is the guy who's buying the groceries.
Exactly.
He's not going to fire himself.
Right.
I'm not going to fire my fucking self. I'm going to fire you first. I'm going to get a new chef. Right? The chef is going to make the thing that I envision, but with my substitutions. I don't want his grocery list. I want to make my own fucking grocery list and give him the shit that I think is good enough for him to make the same meal.
I mean, in terms of the teams that you played for in the NBA, if you were to put a percentage, when you look at the whole team as a whole, right? Mm-hmm. And everyone has a percentage based on the contribution to you guys winning. What percentage would you say is the coach? 10%, 20%, 30%?
A coach?
Meaning that if you take that coach out and replace him with a better coach or a worse coach, would it make a drastic difference?
Yeah, it could. I'll say 30%.
30%, that high?
Yeah, because, okay, so let's take somebody like Spro, right? That grocery list that they have as a team, trash, right?
Yeah.
But he's developing this trash into decent players, usable players, right? I have this system, I have this player, I have these 2 players, I have these 3 players. I need you guys to be great at these things, and we're going to perfect these things to add to this. So if I need a screener to come out there and just set screens, I'm going to make sure you're the perfect screener. You're the perfect catching guy. You're the perfect rebounder, offensive rebounder. You take the ball out fast enough. We're going to perfect these skills so I can use you when I need you. Mm-hmm. That's a different type of coach, right? So he enhances the winning because of what he's adding to that. Now, you're just talking about a guy who's great X's and O's. Now it comes down to when he's in those situations, he draws up great plays like Darvin Ham, right? Those last 2 plays, horrible by my standards. Yeah. One, I've been in the NBA. I've looked through every playbook. I've studied every play. I've studied players, right? If I'm guarding you, just like a LeBron James, who's going to read the whole floor, right? I'm guarding. Now I'm looking. You guys need a 2 and a 3. All right. I'm going to look around who's in the game. Well, I don't care who catches because I have Reeves. Now, Reeves is guarding. Reeves is the best 3-point shooter. At this point, Reeves is probably the best player to take someone off the dribble. He's taking the ball out, 2.7 seconds left. There's no way he can get the ball and get to the basket after he passes it. Impossible, right? Mm-hmm. He passes the ball in. Now he has to get the ball and then try to take me to the basket. Fuck no. That means all he can do is try to catch a 3. He's going to pass it and then try to get a handoff to shoot a 3. Highly improbable too. So therefore, long as this is where he's at, I'm not worrying about this. Now that means someone else has to make a play, right? That's how I look at it. Now, if Reeves is like inside that court and not taking the ball out, now he becomes a whole different threat. Because now he might be actually getting this ball. So now I got to wait for down screens, up screens, flares, back doors, right? So when I seen him take the ball out, I was like, you have your best option taking the ball out. 2.7 seconds left. What the fuck are you going to do? Trash moment. Like both times, both possessions, he's taking the ball out. And I'm like, okay, down screen, LeBron's going to get it. Reeves is going to come off. I can see the play. There's a fucking handoff. You're going to fake it. If you can feel this guy going, then you can probably turn around, shoot a three or drive. It's a fucking ABCD fucking playbook.
I mean, do you feel like, for example, like college coaches have a bigger job than NBA coaches?
Yes, because college has less talent.
Exactly. For example, you see like a Coach K who has an incredible record.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're not going to have, your star player play 10 years on your college team, right? You may have them for a year or two if you're lucky. And then comes a whole bunch of new freshmen and you got to make it work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the fact that Coach K was able to pull off that many championships decade after decade after decade, that says a lot. I mean, if Coach K had come to the NBA, do you think
Probably been trash?
He would have been trash.
Because what makes a great college coach might not make a great NBA coach. Because in college, you have players buying into your system, right? You only have 2 or 3 real stars. Everybody else is it's not. Which means that they're buying into your system. So you have more of a team format, right? So it's a team thing. You have more control. Practice this. They're buying into your system. Well, when you have 15 NBA players who make more than you, your system don't matter. Does the star player? We're listening to the alpha in the group. If he don't like you, we don't like you. Right? And that's how this goes. That the star player, if he don't like the coach, that coach is being fired.
You think that's what happened this year? The star players didn't like these 4 coaches?
I'm pretty sure that happened in, let's say with Trae Young over there. Could have been, if you don't get along with the coach, like, it's me or him, that's fucking shit always happens. Like, when Shaq left, and it was like, hey, you can take Phil with you. I can take Phil with you. I don't need Phil for the shit I'm trying to do, right? I don't need Phil talking about winning when I'm trying to show the world that I am who I am, right? Sometimes players got to go through that mode. So, it's really hard to really be a coach in the NBA unless you're like the general manager too. So you're protected by yourself, right? So when you're looking at, Pop, he's protected by himself. And you hear some coaches that be like, I want the general manager job too. So they can't get fired, right? So now you have the responsibility to pick who you want and you can coach it versus letting them pick and you're like, who? Who the hell is that? Oh, he's great. Y'all seen good footage on him? Oh, okay. Right? Right? And then you don't want to be that type of.
I mean, what are your thoughts about Phil Jackson? He said that after the whole Black Lives Matter thing that he stopped watching the NBA. He just didn't like all the social justice imaging and everything else like that in the games. And, Jalen Rose called him out on it. Did you have an issue with that?
I didn't even hear it.
No? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so this is what Phil Jackson said. This is why he said he stopped watching NBA games. He said they went into the lockout year and they did something that was kind of wonky. They did a bubble down in Orlando, and the teams that could qualify went down there and stayed down there. And they had these things on their backs like justice. I made a little funny thing like justice went to the basket and equal opportunity just knocked him down. So my grandkids thought that was pretty funny to play up those names. So I couldn't watch that. And he said he basically stopped watching NBA games after that.
Okay, was that... Wait. So the players had different things on their jersey?
Yeah.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Jalen Rose commented on it. He said, you can't make this up. Hall of Fame coach, 11-time champion. Phil Jackson claims to have stopped supporting the NBA because he became too political when it went into the bubble and was catering to certain audiences by putting slogans on the back of jerseys of Black Lives Matter on the floor. He said the same. Phil Jackson won a championship with some of the greatest black athletes in the history of the game. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant made millions on their backs and off their sweat equity. You're sitting there watching the game with your grandkids and you all think it's funny when justice passes the ball to equal opportunity. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. So he says, so stop watching forever. That's what Jalen said.
Forever?
That's what Jalen said. Yeah. To Phil Jackson. Or about Phil Jackson.
So something like that, what is the context from Phil, right? I mean, it's real, like, what is the real? I mean, we can all say, oh, that's fucking racist shit, but what is the real context? Are you mad that, politics is coming into the sport?
That's what he's saying.
Right?
That's what I think he's saying.
Yeah, so that's what I said. It all matters. It all really matters because it's easily to say, all right, fuck that. Phil, is it because of black people? Is it Black Lives Matters? Or just as a hooper, you're mad that,
it says justice or equal
but
opportunity.
I'm just saying,
on the back
are you
of
mad that
shirts.
they're just politics, that the game is about politics and, is it that stance, right? You know what I mean? And that's why sometimes I ignore certain shit because if I don't have the full context, like for you to be, racist to me, you have to, it has to be real racism, right? The endo outdoors and I got to fucking think and guess, fuck that, right? Like just give it to me flat out and then, we keep it that way. Don't like make the comments and I'm like, was that racist or, how should I feel? It's like, if you don't like fat chicks, just say you don't like fat chicks, right? Don't be like, well, kind of big, how big? I don't want all that, right? So when it comes to like stuff like that, I just leave it alone. Let me hear the real context. What is the problem? Is it a problem that it's Black Lives Matter and this is a black social, situation? Or is it just you don't think politics should be put inside of a sport, right? That's two different things. Like the message is giving me both. So which one is it?
Fair enough.
And that's how I look at it.
Well, speaking of coaches, Ime Udoka actually got hired by the Houston Rockets. And I remember, like, for example, when Matt Barnes was here and all this happened with Ime, he basically said he'd be surprised if he'd ever coach in the NBA ever again.
Mm-hmm. If everything comes out, he'll be lucky if he coaches in the NBA again, to be honest with you.
Oh, you think it's that bad?
I think it's pretty, I think it's pretty heavy, man. It's just some stuff you can't do, you know what I mean? Because some stuff you can't do. So it's just like, again, not judging. To each his own. I've made plenty of mistakes, but if everything comes out, it could get extra hot in the kitchen for him.
And a lot of people thought that way as well. But now he's with the Houston Rockets. Does that surprise you?
No. It doesn't surprise me because, there's what we see, right? What they let us see, and then there's truth, right? And there's a few truths that didn't come out. Who's the woman? Right?
Yeah. What I heard was interesting because it was someone that was kind of high up the ladder, but it was never officially confirmed. All they were saying it was like a travel agent or something like that. I feel like the real story never came out.
Yeah. So the truth, that truth is who is the woman. Mm-hmm. The truth is who is that high up, right? Now, if these two are fucking and now he's getting fired because of your wife cheated on you, there's nothing illegal with that. That's just between you and your wife.
Well, I don't think he did anything illegal.
No. So what ends up happening is if you're firing this man because of this, that becomes a lawsuit. So now, if he doesn't get another job because of your insecurities, he can sue the company. So now you have to get him another job, technically.
Oh.
Let's just say this.
I mean, for example, like, when it comes to employment, right? You always hear people, suing their employer for, false termination. Mm-hmm. You always hear about it, right?
Yes.
Everyone's at a company has dealt with this on some level, including myself. You know what I'm saying? Where someone ends up quitting or getting fired and they try to file for unemployment and you're like, well, no, this person quit. And they try to fight you on it, saying, oh, no, I didn't really quit. I was, whatever. And sometimes it works out for you. Sometimes it doesn't. In the NBA, are the contracts so bulletproof? Because you never really see people suing an NBA team for being let go or being cut.
Because you usually, you're being fired for performance-based. Right? If you're a coach, I don't like the way you performed this year. I'm firing you. Right. Let's go. But in this was a tricky one. Because this didn't have nothing to do with performance-based.
But just in general, though, see, the thing is like, okay, you could say it's performance-based, but then people will always create their own narratives in a way. Say, oh, no, it was because he was racist and he made this one comment to me and that's why, it was retaliatory or whatever else.
You can try, but, you're fighting against a juggernaut.
A behemoth.
Right? So it's really difficult there,
saying.
But with them...
And it's probably going to blacklist you from playing on any other team.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
But people also do that. For example, actually, hold on. I forgot about Colin Kaepernick. He successfully sued the NFL and they settled with him. But you don't really see that in the NBA.
Did they settle with him?
They did.
Okay.
They did.
And
we don't know the amount, but they settled out of court. I know that. That's a fact.
But what was that settlement? What was the settlement for?
Collusion. Basically saying that the NFL prevented him from getting a job and everything else like that. And listen, the argument on the NFL side was he was on his way out. Like he's not considered a top quarterback, by any stretch of the imagination. I guess you could argue there might be a couple people worse than him, but this is not what you aspire to.
But they could have negotiated. What was his contract up?
Yeah, I believe so. He wasn't
a free agent.
I mean, he was let go from the Niners last I checked.
So that negotiation might have been the rest of his money back.
Might be.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's I know he can't talk about it, so it's really stupid to just.
He still bashes the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean the NFL.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because if you was really happy with your settlement, you wouldn't even worry about them anymore, right? If you made 100, 200 million off of them, you wouldn't give two fucks about bashing them.
You're probably right, but people end up winning lawsuits and getting settlements and continue to talk shit.
Not in this instance. Like, so most likely you probably got lawyer fees paid for. You probably got whatever the rest of your contract guaranteed back to you. Yeah. But the collusion part, that's going to be a hard one to fight because you have to really you have to be able to convince all 30 people, owners, individual entities, that they all said, no, we don't want you, when you had a tryout by some of them.
Oh, yeah. And we had Warren Sapp on the show, and he said that Kaepernick's tryout for the Raiders was like a total disaster. Was a complete disaster. And I remember they tried to fire back at him, and he was like, motherfucker, I played for the Raiders. I'm not an outsider here. Like, I know how these things go. No, but you're right. But in the NBA, you never hear of a lawsuit of someone getting cut or anything.
Because, they might get another job again, right? You don't know. But that's what I'm saying. So what ends up happening is NBA is not like NFL. And it's like NFL, the NFL name is so big that they don't really give a shit about everyone else. NBA, the names are what makes it. So someone like the coach, right? If he doesn't get another job, right, probably a certain amount of time, that lawsuit kicks in. Now the truth starts coming out. They probably don't want this truth to come out. So they're like, okay, well, hold on. Hey, Houston, we need you to hire him for the betterment of our league, right? and that happens. Yeah, I'm sorry, it happens. We can say whatever we want, but I guarantee you, whoever that guy is in Boston, I guarantee you 1,000% he'll rather him have a job and he can move on versus him sue, and then we got to find out who the fuck I am. And then my wife cheated on me, right? Now I look stupid to the rest of the, our little picnics in the little neighborhood and little shit like that. My wife fucking a black guy. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Right? I just know it makes me look stupid.
I mean, it's not like he didn't perform with the Celtics.
Yeah, that's what I said.
He got to the finals.
This one,
he lost against the Warriors.
This is probably one of those. He got a job to stop a lawsuit.
Okay, fair enough. Speaking of the Warriors, did you see the video of Giannis when he was on live and someone brought up, him going to the Warriors? He's like, oh, go to the Warriors. Oh. And everyone was like, wait a minute, is he actually going to the Warriors?
Listen, those are like somebody like him doing that. That's more of the troll.
Think he's trolling?
Like, if he really was going to the Warriors, he wouldn't pretend to entertain it. Like,
if he went to the Warriors, imagine that team.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy.
It was so funny. And I don't think anybody will say, oh, this championship won't count. Like they did KD. Because it's Giannis, he's from overseas. He's fun-loving. He's entertaining. Great personality. No one would say anything to him about it. That sucks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But he wouldn't.
What do you think of Victor Wembanyama? They're saying that he's potentially a better rookie prospect than LeBron.
A better prospect?
Yes.
Who is he compared to?
LeBron.
Then he can't be a better prospect, technically, because LeBron was compared to Magic and Michael Jordan, right? So if Michael Jordan and Magic are the number one entities in the world, right? And then you're making LeBron 2 by, you're just saying LeBron can't be better than Jordan, and he's compared to LeBron, then technically he can't be a better prospect to LeBron, technically.
I mean, yeah, this was
Just the
on
technical part.
Shannon and Skip were talking about this. I mean, they're calling him the greatest prospect ever over LeBron and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
But who is it compared to? But that's the problem. Like,
Yeah.
we know what LeBron was compared to. LeBron was compared to Your Highness, the greatest player of all time. So
Right.
is Wemby compared to Michael Jordan and LeBron James? Like, who?
Well, Damian Lillard, he chimed in. He said, I was in the 7th grade when they were hyping LeBron up. He's still at the top 20 years later. Stop playing with him. It's getting out of pocket.
Yeah. Is Wemby going to play for 20 years? Probably not. Right? It's just like it. Listen, I'm sorry, but they've ruined the kid legacy already.
By saying that,
You've ruined the kid legacy. Like, it is fucking amazing that LeBron James himself lived up to the hype and surpassed it. And during that whole process, they treated him like shit. Let's just
Did
be
they?
honest. Come on.
LeBron got treated like shit. How so?
When Jordan's from 84 to 90, what did they say about Michael Jordan? Negative. Nothing at all. Fucking green lights to just try to be great, right?
Well, no. There's the whole gambling thing.
What year? During his championships, not between 84 and 90.
Yeah, later on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Between 84 and 90, all of them losing. Like, no one even talks about. They talk about 6 years, like Jordan played 6 years only. They don't count the Wizard years. They don't count fucking 80 to the 9. They don't count none of those years. There's just fucking 6 rings, fucking 6 tries, greatest ever, right? That's really how we treat Jordan, right? With LeBron, from day one, we compared him from day one to Michael Jordan. So he was criticized from day one. There's no clear road. He's had obstacles all the way through, right? So he's going to have obstacles all the way through everything. And if he don't make the playoffs, they're going to talk shit about it. If he hurts his foot, he's going to talk shit about it, right? If he goes to another team, he's going to talk shit about it. You're not going to give him the same road you gave Michael Jordan. And that's why Michael Jordan can't be topped. Because when he was trying to build himself, no one looked at it. We were still focusing on Magic and Bird. While he was averaging 32, 35, 32, 31, 31. Like, envy, you got scoring champ. No one says, well, those are he's stat chasing, padding his stats. And pointless wins, pointless stats. No one did that fucking shit to Michael Jordan. These are pointless stats. He's fucking getting all these stats on a losing team. No, this is the fucking greatest player of all time. That's what they were saying. By championship 2, he was coined the best player to ever play this game. Michael Jordan didn't even have 18,000 points yet. Kareem had his number, right? 33,000? 33,000 points. Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan at 17,000 points was already considered the best player to ever walk the planet.
They're calling him Black Jesus.
Before his second ring. That's the guy that every kid is chasing. The guy who got 6 rings now, but by ring 2, the greatest man who ever walked this earth. Not even 18,000 points. 33,000. He's chasing 33,000. By 18,000, he is considered the best player to ever walk the earth. How the fuck are you supposed to beat that? Just the other 5 rings is just fucking cherry on top.
5 more cherries.
Fucking cherry on top.
Still the greatest. See, he told you.
You can't fucking beat that. You can give LeBron 20 more years and Skip Bayless will be like, nah, He didn't do it how Jordan did it. Jordan only did it in 6.
I actually just met Skip Bayless a few days ago for the first time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we were having lunch at the same place in Beverly Hills, and I walked up to him. I introduced myself. He knew who I was. We had a little conversation. Cool guy.
You know, one thing that I respect Skip about, right, is his dedication to his job.
Yeah.
Right? Like I look at his Instagram every fucking day. He wakes up at 2:31, 2:30 on a dot, gets prepared for work. Mm-hmm. This all the athletes, we can sit here and complain that we don't like his takes or shit, but you can't say you're more dedicated at work than he is. Mm-hmm. Right? A man who's waking up to prepare, he go work out first, he does this, works on his takes, and then he goes and does his job.
Yeah, no, listen,
You know what I mean?
I was lightweight nervous. Like usually, because I've met damn near, well, not every celebrity, but I've met a lot of celebrities because it's just my job, right? And I mean, not only do I meet them in interviews, but when I'm out, I introduce myself. You know, usually most celebrities know who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just because of how long the platform's been around. But I was lightweight nervous meeting him because I'm like, I kind of aspire to, you know what I mean? Because he's in his 60s at this point and still doing it at a very high level and still holding his ground. And I'm like, I admire this guy. This is what I aspire. You know, I mean, we have different types of businesses. He doesn't own his own company. You know, he works for, was it ESPN? Mm-hmm. But like what he's accomplished and how he kept accomplishing it was really like, this is dope. And when I met him and he knew who I was like, okay, this is great. Because they featured some of my clips before on the show. Yeah, and I know Shannon as well. Like, so it was like, okay, this is great.
It's just like, when I got into the social media, right, you pick up all the top heads, right, and you put them up there, and then you just see, all right, they're at the top for a reason. There's no undrafted player, right, that's going to be fucking, Mount Rushmore. Yeah. That goes with anything, right? The cream of the crop always rises. Now, what makes them great? Yeah. And that's what I pay attention to.
Yeah, I studied him. Right? I studied him. Like the way Skip and Russell Westbrook went back and forth, where he called him like West Brick or something like that. And he was like, like when I'm going to see you or something, he goes, you can come to my show. You can see me whenever you want. I'm like, I'm going to use that. I like that. That's a great way of flipping things around. So it was like, okay. I like the way you're handling things. Mm-hmm. It's not like a one-on-one fight between the two would even be remotely fair. Mm-hmm. But he was like, I'm going to say, this is my job and I'm going to stand on it. And when he was out, he didn't have security or nothing. You know what I mean?
But like it's one of these things. As a player, naturally, we do not respect media. Right?
Because I can see why.
Because there's a thing of I'm doing this. Right, I'm doing this job that I'm preparing for. I put my heart and soul into it. You've never stepped a foot in here, but you're giving me your takes on my ability. How dare you? Right. Yeah. So we have that. Now I'm on the other side. Right. So now I'm trying to figure out where do you guys get your takes from? Okay, that's bullshit. This and that, and. More of it is more research and opinion versus real, true eye tests, right? And, that's where now the athlete is coming into this space, and now you're giving your take from your personality and your experience, but we still need to study what made them last this long.
Right, because when you look at the top guys in media, in sports media, I mean, you have Shannon Sharp. He was a top NFL player, but he's a bit of an anomaly, right? Because he's with Skip Bayless, who I don't think played anything. Yeah. Stephen A. Smith, I don't think played anything. And if they did, it wasn't at a very high level. So it's kind of like Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, two non-athletes who are at the top of this game, right?
Yeah.
Now you see, I mean, listen.
But at some point,
well, then you got Shaq and you got Charles Barkley and everything else like that. But in certain areas you do have athletes. But then again, it opens things up for Skip Bayless to come in and dominate.
Yeah, because what ends up happening is before the athlete wasn't coming back, right? So you have the Magic Johnson, you have those, but Magic is not really there full time, right? It's just fun for him. right? You have Kenny Smith, and then with Shaq and, Charles, they're more personalities than actual information, right? They give you here and there, but it's not real detailed. So what ends up happening is now the JJ Reddicks, the Kedra Perkins, the Mead, we're coming.
Yeah.
And we're coming, and what happened is we're adapting you guys information because you guys can't adapt to our knowledge of what we're doing. So that's why I tell us, study them, understand how to present it, how to talk, how to throw out your zingers and throw out your clickbait with our information. We remove them in the future.
Well, yeah, but when you look at like former athletes that get into this game, for example, the Charles Barkley Jordan situation. Because remember, at one point, Barkley criticized some of Jordan's moves, with the Hornets, and he said that Jordan called him up, cussed him out, and they've never spoken since. And that was like a decade ago, and they were like best friends. You know what I'm saying? So it's like being on the athlete side. There is more sort of politics involved sometimes in relationships and friendships and everything else like that. Whereas a lot of times when you have media people like myself, they separate them, any sort of personal relationships from people that they report on. So they could do kind of a harder take on people without having to worry about, he's not gonna be my friend anymore if I say this.
Yeah, but athletes don't really think like that. You think more of, was it a fair take? Is your take bias or is it truth? Right? So when the only thing I don't like skip for is you're being biased with your takes on LeBron, right? Right? Like, we know you love Jordan, right? We know Shannon loves LeBron, right? So it's a good mix between the two of you, but when you guys stand alone, Skip, you look bad when you're saying that LeBron's greatness ain't great. Like, stop comparing it to Jordan and compare it to his fucking self, right? Like, we get it. You love Jordan. You're not going to let him. Get that. Stephen A. Smith says, hey, listen, I love Jordan. He's not going to be better than Jordan. He can be two. He can be two. We can respect that, right? We understand your take. Shannon's like, hey, LeBron's number one, Jordan's number two, right? We can respect that. You give your takes, but to say like, I don't like him. He can't do this. He can't do that. It's like, okay, that's just biased takes now. That's not even real information anymore. I can't take it as real information because you have your personal agenda mixed into it. You can't report like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the argument that Charles Barkley made about the Jordan situation, was like, I still have to do my job. And to be fair, the Charlotte Hornets have not been a very good team under the Jordan ownership. Okay, you see what I'm saying?
But now here's what Jordan's going to say. Well, you take every year I owned it, you take my pick, right? You take my pick and then you redo the pick. Now that I make the worst decisions. That's where Michael Jordan will sit there and do. Now you look at it. So now you're saying, all right, I got the number one pick. Okay, I got Kwame Brown, right? Now let's rewind it. Who was I going to pick now, right? Right? Am I going to pick Tyson Chandler? Yeah, he had 20 years, but he was never a star. Do I take that with the number one pick? Probably not. Eddie Curry? Probably not. Gasol? Ding, ding, ding. But was Gasol even considered the number one pick? No. Mm-hmm. So technically, you can't fault me for picking what everybody would have picked as a number one pick, right? Now we go to my Charlotte days, right? And I take Adam Morrison, all right? Who else would I would have took with that pick? Yeah, we can look at who became stars after, but were they considered that pick then? No. So you're judging me on, we're taking the best pick, the best player that's supposed, if they didn't pan out, then you blame me for not preparing these kids to be great. Say I don't have the best infrastructure on building the talent. I can live with that. But don't say, I'm the worst GM because of the picks and these are the people I was supposed to pick, because if I took 4 and 5, 6, 7 were trash too, those are the fucking picks I would have had to pick any goddamn way. 9? Who would have picked 9? Who would have thought 9 would have been fucking the star? No one. That's why we didn't fucking pick them, right? Yeah. And those are the things that athletes look at. Like, when you're judging my When you're judging me, are you judging it fair?
Fair enough.
You know, and that's, if you're not judging it fair, then it's, yeah, fuck you.
Well, there's a rumor that Jordan's going to be selling the Hornets. You heard that?
I've heard it.
Yeah. We'll see. Like I said, they haven't really done all that well. No
I mean, they have
championships.
pieces, but at the end of the day, look, listen. You have to be very lucky when you're in a bad city, right? That's economics also, right? When you're in a bad city, just like you can't create jobs and wealth, you can't create a team either. Doesn't change. Who the fuck wants to be in, like, let's be honest, who wants to be in Indiana? Who really wants to be in Memphis with free agents? Who wants to be in Detroit? Who wants to be in, Charlotte, Sacramento? Like, the stars are not coming up and say, oh, yeah, I want to be there. No.
Well, yeah, because you actually touched on this. I guess we did the interview with JJ Redick. You were asked if the NBA has a LeBron and Steph problem, meaning that, like, here are the two top players, and they're going to retire at some point. You know, we don't know when, but it'll be in the foreseeable near future, right?
Yeah.
And who's going to be next? And you said that Jokic, you know, his game is not sexy enough, and also he's in Denver. So there's that part.
Yep.
You know, I mean, is he going to go to a bigger city? He's going to go to Lakers or to, Boston or whatever else. But, once those two step down, is the NBA going to be the big superstar league that it is right now?
Listen, man, and it shows you from way back when the NBA signed its first merger, right? And signed its first TV deal. The two cities that were promoted, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson.
LA and Boston.
LA and Boston.
Yep.
The big cities.
Yep.
Right? Not no fucking small cities. It's two big cities, right? That's it. That's why the 80s were fucking amazing for us. Because we're looking at fucking two dominant teams. We're not looking at the rest of these shits. We don't. You can't tell one 80s guy, hey, who was the top 5 bottom teams? They're not gonna fucking know because they didn't care. They looked at two great teams all day, like, holy shit, Magic Bird, champion. That's why they fucking think the 80s was
they
great.
had their own video games, they had their own sneakers,
but that's why they think the 80s is great, because the only fucking two teams they seen for fucking damn near 5 years or 6 years were the two best teams.
Right. Well, also the Sixers.
But they're here and there. Right? It wasn't prime fucking team, but you're looking at the best. You're not looking at the Rugrats. Then when Michael Jordan comes, you're looking at Chicago, but you're looking at one great man. Right? So we're jaded. The brain was jaded on what we were witnessing. We didn't know there were fucking 20 something other teams. Just fucking 3 or 4 teams, and that's the fucking whole 80s. When you hear them talk, it's about fucking few teams, right? It's a few teams, and then when you make how good the 80s were, they mention 3-5 players. Had to go Magic, Bird, then there's Jordan, then Hakeem, then the same draft is the fucking 84 draft. Hakeem, Jordan, Jordan, and then Barkley.
Yeah.
No one knows that fucking John Stockton was in the draft. No one thinks about none of that shit, right? And that's how our brains were. So whenever those cities are star powered and are great, the NBA as a whole thrives.
You said something interesting. You said Jordan, Iverson, and Kobe were feared. LeBron is not. Explain that.
It's like having assassins, right? Jordan, Kobe, Iverson, they were the type of guys that maximized pain, right? Right? What do you fear more? You fear suffering, right? If you have to die, you will die, right? It's something you don't feel, lethal injection, some shit you can just, okay, I fell asleep, I'm dead. Versus someone that's sitting there cutting you all day and you're going to bleed. That was Jordan, Kobe, and Iverson. They're going to bleed you to death. They want you to feel every fucking piece of this kill, right? I'm going to score 60, 70. It's going to be ruthless. It's going to be terror. I'm never going to stop. That was them. That's what you feared. You feared dying painfully. With LeBron, you're dying too. You're going to die. You're just not going to, he might, just slit your throat, just die, right? There's no fucking 7 days, 8 days of pain. So when you say, who I'd rather die from, I'd rather die of LeBron. He's going to give it to me the easiest possible way, right? Like Jokic. No one's fearing Jokic. Because most of his shit is, I'm going to rebound, I'm going to throw a little assist and have 20-something points. No one's afraid of 20-something points. Right now, if I got to guard a guy who's going to, like Embiid is more feared than Jokic, but who's more deadlier? Right? Greek the Freak is more feared than Jokic, but who's going to kill you the worst? Right? It's just that there's a certain way of dying. And when you're talking about LeBron James, 40, 39, 9, and 8, doesn't seem so bad. Yeah. 60, 85, fucking 81, fucking I don't sleep at night. Right? I don't fucking sleep at night. And that's what you fear.
Who do you think is the most feared player in the NBA right now?
Right now, most feared?
Feared. You think Steph Curry's feared?
Steph Curry, KD, Dame, Luka, Kyrie.
Pick one.
Kyrie. Pick one. Most feared.
Does the trash talking go into this equation?
No, this is just like, it doesn't have nothing to do. It's just someone that's capable of it's the capability of what a player can possibly do. Most feared.
So basically the guy that could put up the most points in a game and just
and
embarrass everybody
in
the process.
So I would say the most feared, if I just got to pick one, I would probably say Greek the Freak.
Okay.
Because he's going to do it on both ends, and there's no reasoning with, you know what I mean? There's no reasoning with this motherfucker when it comes to like on the court. It's just like when he's stepping on the court, you know what's going to happen, right? But for top 5, it's like different positions. Like, as scary as Curry and Dame are and putting buckets on, Kyrie's just as feared because what he will possibly make you look like on a SportsCenter take. Like, I don't want to guard a guy who's going to embarrass me. Right? Yeah. So there's different types of what I fear.
Kyrie's a free agent now, right? Mm-hmm. You think he's going to go back to Boston, or you think he's going somewhere else?
No, I don't think he's going to go to Boston.
Okay. Where do you think Kyrie will end up? He's got a new shoe deal in the works, by the way, I heard also.
We don't know what company?
We don't know. I mean, clearly it's not Nike, but I mean, what's left? Adidas and
if it goes big company, yeah.
Really Adidas, right? That's the only second. I mean, what else is there? Puma, Skechers,
Adidas. You can go
Crocs.
You can go Under Armour.
You can go Under Armour. You're right.
You can go Under Armour. You can go Puma. You can go Chinese company.
Yeah, you're right. Where do you think Kyrie will go? He's been showing up to a lot of Lakers games. That's the rumor.
Yeah, I mean, he lives here in the summer. Is he gonna? It's either gonna be Dallas. I'll say Dallas or Lakers. Hey, listen. Once Cuban gets a hold of you, I mean, he can make a player feel like loved.
Okay.
In a world where you're treated like meat, right?
Okay.
He can make you feel like, yo, hey, listen, media, all this, fuck them. Right? I got you. I protect you. Yeah. Here's this, here's that. I got you. Like he's a basketball fan and then a businessman.
Yeah.
Which is different. There's businessman than basketball fan. He's a basketball fanatic, and then he's a businessman.
Yeah, so he's really involved. I feel like, he's at all the games, he's involved, he speaks. And you're right. Most owners, I mean, I don't even know some of the owners.
Yeah, so it's like Mark Cuban is like Jerry Buss when he had the Lakers, right?
Okay, yeah. I can see that.
Magic Johnson is his guy. Kobe is his guy. People don't realize, when Kobe got drafted, Jerry Buss and them told Shaq and the Lakers, he's off limits. You cannot haze him. There's no rookie hazing him. Okay. Fuck off. Right?
He never got the Nick Young treatment.
Yeah, there's no rookie hazing him. Right? You can rookie haze any fucking
Everyone
rookie.
else.
Every other rookie we get or whatever.
You can give his share to someone else.
Yes, him, off limits.
Off limits.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's, you know what I mean? That's the type of future they've seen with him. Protected him all the time. Right? And as owners in these leagues, that's really how you're supposed to treat your number one pick or your future. Because Kobe was number one, your future. Right? There's things that can break mentally, right? You're talking about an 18, 19-year-old kid who's coming in, trying to fit in, right? You're trying to fit into this thing, right? So whatever you get your first few years is what really you're turning into. So if you don't really nourish what you're getting early, it can turn out bad. And that's why Wemby goes to Spurs, because they can nurture this into what's supposed to be great. And if you are the NBA and this is supposed to be the next legacy, right? The next future, the next LeBron, the next Jordan, the next Kobe, then you need him in a place that's going to develop the greatness. You can't have your future entity sitting in fucking a city where they don't know nothing about basketball and just, hey, here's a ball, fucking go out there and do whatever the fuck you want. And then put him in a city where you can't trust the elements. And some of these cities need to look at that too. Hey, your city sometimes is gonna like push away that ball bouncing your way, right? You got a lot of crime, fucking killing people over there. I'm not gonna put my star who has the most money, who's gonna be the face of the city in your fucking hands. Sorry, mayor. Until you clean up the city, you're not gonna get fucking superstars either.
I mean, Boston sort of had that problem over the years with the racism and everything else like that. I mean, who was it? Bill Russell said, I play for the Celtics, not for Boston.
Makes sense.
You've had your issues over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you gotta work for your racism with me. Right? You
gotta be extra racist with you.
No, you gotta really like just because you say words, don't that doesn't do it for me. You gotta really, I gotta see it. Like, you can't say the N-word and then you got fucking Paul Pierce on your back. You got fucking Paul Pierce shoes on, fucking wristband, Kevin Garnett. I don't know what kind of racism it is, but that's not real racism.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So
I'm pretty sure Duke is not putting on black folks. Yeah.
Okay. During your time with the NBA, in terms of players, coaches, etc., have you actually experienced any real racism in the NBA?
No.
Never.
Real? No. The reason I say no is when you're talking about racism, right? You're talking about, I hate the fact that you exist, right?
Yeah.
The color, I don't care, you. Now, you're telling me I go to Boston and then there's 22,000 people, right? You guys are supposed to be racist, right? Your whole team's fucking black, right?
Yeah.
Now, real racism means you're not even fucking in this building. You're not, it's basically fuck this team, get it all white,
okay.
I'll come fucking back.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
that's racism to me.
I got you. But saying, okay, I don't believe that you should exist and I hate your existence and I think you should die. Yes, that's Nazi Hitler racism. Mm-hmm. But saying, I don't consider you an equal. Yes, I admire certain things about you, but I wouldn't let you date my daughter. I wouldn't invite you to my home. I don't think you're as intelligent as I am, or some other shit. That's all racist.
Yeah, but I have on your jersey, I have on your shoes, I buy your product. Sounds stupid.
Sounds stupid.
Again, you know what I mean? It just fucking sounds stupid. I'm up there cheering and you can't date my daughter, but can you take a picture with her? It's fucking stupid. Right? It's just like, come on, I don't know what fucking book you're reading from, but it's not the book that I've learned, right? And that's why I say, you give me Duke. Duke probably wouldn't even fucking show up to a game that has all black people. I'm pretty sure he doesn't even go to sports games, right? That's real racism. That's someone who says, hey, I don't consider none of this shit valuable. So, when I really judge it, I'm looking at the behavior, right? Like, same thing with like someone like Trump, right? Oh, he's racist. But every fucking rally he does, it's all black music. It's not fucking that's Rihanna. I can hear Rihanna. That's Rihanna. Right? That sounds like Rihanna, right? And then it switched to that's fucking John Legend. That's fucking black right there. Beyonce's next. Like this is not like he's playing Taylor Swift and Lady Gaga all day. Like, come on. Like that's the shit I pay attention to. Okay. Like I hear words, but then I look at action, and action speaks very loud to me.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, we're in a very hypersensitive time, 2023, with social media and everything else like that. And anything that's remotely racist gets amplified.
Yes.
A lot.
Remote.
And that's just
the remote. It's the remote part of it then versus the real.
Yeah. And anyone that says things that could be interpreted as racist will go down as a fact of being racist. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the reality of today, which is why you have to be extra careful. You know what I mean? You just have to you have to watch what you say. And, you know.
The fact that you have to watch what you say means you can say, oh, that's racist. You can't naturally just talk about racism because you're racist. Like, they're going to fucking, there's everything.
I got you.
They're going to fucking trick you. Yeah. Right? It's like I'm having, like even with the LGBT, right? I think it's the most unfair group walking the planet right now.
How so?
They have a playbook that only they are playing by, that they can only see. No one else gets to see this playbook, but we're being judged by everything that's in this playbook, but we don't know it. So it's like there's no open dialogue, right? There's no open dialogue about what is appropriate, what's not. We only find out after we fuck up. That's unfair, right? That's fucking unfair. You can't do that. You can't, how do I know something's wrong until you give it to me?
Give me an example of what you're talking about.
Just words, phrases, like he, she, it, they, wait. We don't fucking, how do we know? You're making it up as you go. And we don't, it's not like, that's what I said. It's not like there's this fucking dictionary of updates and we can sit there and click it and say, all right, I can't say, I can't, they took this out, right? They added this in. We're just learning.
Oh yeah.
Right? And that's really unfair that you can cancel somebody on a playbook that only you have.
Yeah.
Right? Like having an argument with someone from the LGB. Fucking suicide. Right? Here's why. They have the whole dictionary to use against you. Right? They can say whatever the fuck they want. They can technically make a straight man gay by saying, hey, yo, you look like a gay guy. You look like this, and call you all kind of gay words, which is technically offensive, right? To a straight man. Soon as I say something back that's gay, I'm fucking canceled now. Like, how does that fucking work?
Well, I mean, look.
Even us talking about it makes us feel uncomfortable because we know there's going to fucking be backlash, but it's truth. You can use whatever vocabulary against me. I get to go back. Now it becomes, you get to use the, LGB, can't do that.
Well, but that's sort of the standard of society in terms of where everyone stands in their roles. So for example, right, you ever watch the show Black AF on Netflix?
Yeah, Black AF.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You watched the show, right?
Yeah.
Remember the opening scene where, what's the name of the guy who stars in the show? Kenya Barris.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Kenya Barris is like waiting outside to go pick up his car, and like this white guy like says something to him and whatever, kind of gets on his wrong side. He gets in his car. He's like, I fucking hate white people.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Switch that around.
Oh,
Have a white guy be in that role, and a black guy comes and annoys him. He gets in his car and goes, I fucking hate black people.
Racist.
Yo, that'll be crazy. And please do not take this little snippet that I'm saying and put it out of context or whatever else, because, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, like I said, the exact same words.
It's selective.
The exact same words, just switch the players up. That show would be canceled. Netflix would have to apologize. And the careers of some of the actors might be
That's the same thing with white chicks, right? Mm-hmm. Right? White chicks, you have the...
Get a couple of white guys.
And dress in blackface.
Yeah, and call it black chicks.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be crazy.
It does. That's the problem. That's why I have this standoffish when it comes to stuff like that. If it's not equally down the middle, fuck off trying to convince me.
Okay.
Right? Like I'm on both sides. I'm like the fucking referee. Like, technical foul, fucking technical foul here, right? Like I'm on the fucking middle. I'm the fucking referee at this point, and I'm the referee. If I see gay dude, straight men arguing, all right, let's go at it. All right, technical. Fuck it even right now. I'm not gonna just let you one side and then you get to call him. Like I see it so much, and I sit there and say, this is fucking like LGBT. You can't control your fucking group now. He just called me all kind of F words, and I'm gay, and I need to suck this and suck that. If I say that back, I'm done.
Done.
Even though it's probably
true.
No, probably. It seems more real going the other way, right? He tells me suck his balls and dick. That's hold on, bro.
Hold on.
If I say the same thing, I'm pretty sure he likes it. So I don't know how that's offensive, but you see how we can the shit can go sideways. And I just don't like situations like that. And I was like I'm in the middle, and I'm sitting here like, man, you guys are not playing fair.
No, listen, I was talking to one of my employees. It was like last year, I think, who's gay. And, he's openly gay, and it's all good. And I remember I was telling him about this situation I was frustrated with because someone canceled on me and then gave me the runaround. And he's like, man, that's gay. And I'm like, you said it, not me. I would never say it. I'm not going to say that around you. But he's like, man, that's gay. And I'm like, okay. Next topic.
But that's just like when we're allowed to use those words. Yeah. Right? Like I'm black, I can say the N-word, right? I just don't like when we can use it, right?
Weaponize it.
We can weaponize it to you, but then you can't push it back.
Right.
I can sit here and call you, what, nigga, this, here. And as soon as you say it, I'm like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that back. I'm gonna, I just don't like those type of fights. If you are fighting and arguing, there shouldn't be no rules yet, right?
I just want to tell this, let me just put a little asterisk here for all the white people that are watching this right now. Don't think that, what Gilbert is saying gives you the right to use the N-word.
No.
I just want to put that out there. I just want to put that out there. Be like, well, Gilbert said I can use it, right?
No. I just believe when you open up the door of something, you have to be able to play fair. Well, you can't play knowing that you have an ace.
I agree.
Ace in the hole.
I agree. And I think that, for example, I don't think the N-word should be used by anyone, personally. That's my personal belief. I think that because of the history of that word and how it's been used and weaponized by white people and you know what I mean, as an oppressive tool and everything else like that, by putting it out there and using it and trying to change the meaning and putting it in songs. Now, I remember I've interviewed rappers, I think G Herbo was one of them. I'm like, hey, when you do shows, a lot of times it's like a majority white audience, they sing along to the N-word, in your lyrics. Do you have a problem? I don't have a problem with that, but a lot of people would have a problem with that.
I'm cool with it, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing, bro. As long as you're not being disrespectful or in a derogatory manner. Like, I may slip up. Like, I just left a show and a white guy, I took a picture with him. I'm like, all right, my nigga. I call him a nigga, you feel me? So I can't be a hypocrite. I don't really trip out the word. As long as you're not disrespecting me, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, a white person not just gonna openly use the word nigga around me like, yeah, nigga, but you know what I'm saying? I don't really mind if you at my shows and I see a white person in the crowd say nigga, I'm not about to say, hold on, stop that shit. Hey, you feel me? Like, I ain't tripping.
So it's one of those things where I feel that that's like certain words would be just better taken off everyone's vocabulary. Just make it fair all around. Don't use it. But then again, I'm not black, so it's not really, But I'm Jewish, for example. Like, I don't use the word kike like around other Jewish people. You know what I'm saying? But I could technically say it, and I'm not racist by saying it because I'm Jewish myself. But it's an ugly word, and it's a word that I don't use in my regular speech, right?
Yeah.
So it's tricky. It's tricky. There's a lot
going
going on.
But it's one of those things where it's crazy how words are used to be weaponized and used to destroy. When sometimes, some people might not know the meaning or the context behind it. I remember having you're just sitting there just talking. And I'm like, yo, bro, you get that number? And like, no, I didn't get a number. I was scared. Oh, man, you acting like a
B.
No, the F word.
Oh, okay.
And then someone got hey, that's offensive. Huh? Excuse me? Yeah, what you just said is offensive. To who? He said, to me. but I'm not talking to you. And he was like, it doesn't matter, I can hear you.
So that happened to you?
Yeah. And I'm like, wait. So wait, say that again? And I was like, I'm talking to him about a situation and you're offended by what I'm talking to him about? He's not offended. I said, he's straight. So, and then he was like, well, the way you're using it, you're meaning he's less than a man. Actually, that's how I am using it, right? And like, yeah, that's how I'm actually using it. And well, that's offensive. So I said, okay. All right, let me try this one. Yo, you're acting like a bitch, right? Does that work? Because that works better. So I said, that's not offensive to women?
Right.
Because I don't, excuse me. Hey, how you doing? Did you just hear what I said? I said he's acting like a bitch. And she's like, I heard you. I said, are you offended? She was like, no. Okay, so she's not offended by a word that is used to, say she's less than something. And you are fine with it. But then I use the word. And I said, yes. I said, you see how this shit doesn't.
It's a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Just stay out of it.
And that's the problem. It's just
Stay
like,
out of
you
it.
just sit there and you just be like,
I'm done.
Fuck it off. This is fucking crazy times. Like, but anything like, I just think there needs to be like real open dialogue.
Yeah.
Like I found the loophole that should be closed up. Right. I'm going to fucking just say it. Right. The transgender thing, right? I see two situations that's wrong with it. Okay, so if I say, hey, as a straight man, I feel comfortable going to the ladies' restroom, right? The reason that it'll be stopped is because women get to choose. Like, hold on, no, we do not feel comfortable with that straight man coming into here, right? That would be the reason that you wouldn't allow it, right? If a transgender says they feel comfortable going into the ladies' room, the women don't get to choose and say, hold on, no, we do not feel comfortable with a transgender coming to the back. They automatically get granted. I'm asking why. If a woman can keep everyone else out, why don't they get the veto or vote? Like, how does the women who are being infiltrated, their space is being infiltrated, why don't they get the actual? Like, hold on, anybody forgetting about us? This is our space. Like, yeah. I'm confused on.
It's tricky, man. It's tricky.
Why don't they get to actually have that right to say, hold on, cool, you feel comfortable, but we don't feel comfortable. So,
yeah, I mean, look, the fact that I get a lot of emails these days, and at the bottom it'll say he/him, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because you're not mislabeling a person, whatever, right? But the trans population is maybe like 1%, if that, maybe 0.5%. I think it's like 0.5%. Okay. So over a group that consists of 0.5% of the world population, 99.5% of the people have to oblige that group and put in this extra text and this extra work in order to make that 0.5% feel comfortable. I can understand the argument for it because, those 0.5% are humans and they deserve to be treated well. But you're creating a situation that's like disproportionate to the size of the group. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that. I really
so
do.
It's a little bit tricky in that regard. But I mean, listen, I understand the fight for human rights and equality, and along the way, people will catch the L, like the whole Bud Light situation, how they got the trans influencer, and then now their sales are at a 45-degree angle, their stock price.
Know your customer.
And I feel sorry for her because
she didn't do
anything wrong. You gonna tell me if some major beer company offers you a sponsorship and you're trying to establish yourself as a figure, as a public figure, you gonna turn that down? Of course not.
That's Bud Light's problem. That's Bud Light's fault for even
putting that person in that.
putting that person in that situation.
Yeah.
knowing your customer. I mean, just knowing your consumer.
Clearly, the customers were not happy with that situation. Me personally, I don't give a shit.
That's beer. I
don't give a shit.
That's what I'm saying. But that, like, little things like that. What the fuck does it matter? It's
What
not
the
like
fuck does
you
it
drink the
matter?
beer, something's gonna happen to you.
Right? Oh, you
Fucking
turn
stupid.
trans.
Right,
You grow some titties if you drink this beer.
But
Don't do it.
But who's the group? Who's the group that drinks fucking Bud Light all day? You know?
It's definitely not the trans community. Let me tell you,
It's just not normal thinking.
Yeah.
And then the second one, like with that, like I just have a problem with like those women. Like, shouldn't the natural woman vote on if they should be allowed, right? Because you see emails like, oh yeah, I'm coming out, boom, I'm gonna be using a woman's bathroom now.
Yeah.
And then all straight women are like, we don't have a say so, right? I just like, where's that say so? It should be a say so, because they're invading space. Second one, and I just want to know how this is only the LGBT can really answer this question. As society, if transgender changes their sex and they're going by, he, she, him, her, right? We supposed to oblige by that, right? Now, how does it work if, I don't want to say names, but what if there's a her inside of her sport, right? She's in a woman's sport, and then she decides to transgender to male, and now be considered a him or her, or him,
He
or he.
right?
Technically, by your rules, we should oblige and say him or he, which means he now is not allowed to play this woman's sport.
Well, that's how it works now, right? You can't have a woman's team with a transgender male, a transgender who transitioned from female to male.
Female to male.
Yes, because technically, if you are accepting the person as to how they present themselves, they can no longer be on a woman's team.
Yes.
In the same way that if you, like I've always said, if Kevin Durant wore a wig and started calling himself a female, he couldn't play for the NBA anymore. He'd have to go play for the WNBA.
You would think.
And it would be a massacre.
Yeah, but
which happens all the time in sports. I remember there was like some big high school thing where like recently where a transgender came in and just demolished everybody.
yeah,
You
but
know
it's
what I'm
always
saying?
but it's always male going to female.
Exactly.
Right? But if the natural woman decides to be male, you have to really understand, like if you want
they generally can't compete. I remember
you don't supposed to.
Right. I mean, like, for example, there was a weightlifting competition in Canada, and Canada had just passed a law saying that however you present yourself will allow you to compete in a sport of that gender. So a male powerlifter decided to join a female powerlifting competition and broke every record just to prove a point.
Just to prove a point.
He broke every record in the sport of all time.
And went back to male.
And went back to male.
No, but what I'm saying
And he
is
didn't even try to like dress up like a woman. He just went in and said, I'm a woman. Rah. Gold medal.
but what I'm saying is in women's sports, like if you're a woman soccer player and you're actually a woman and you want to be considered a him or a he, technically by the rules that the LGBT community has presented, that female now male shouldn't be allowed on this team.
But that's the way it works, I believe now.
No,
No?
there's still women, natural women who consider themselves as males now are still playing their women's sport.
What sport? Basketball?
Yeah, there's probably one. Technically, but that's what I'm saying. Technically, but as a male, there's no benefit. You don't have no enhancement benefit that makes you better, right? I understand that you're going through what you're going through, and I accept the new one. But technically, you're confusing us. You're confusing us because you're saying that we're supposed to continue this, which we do. Technically, this is called the WNBA, right? So now that means you cannot actually be on the team, and you have to, if you want to continue your basketball career, you got to go try out for the NBA, which you're not going to make. So you got to retire.
But I'm waiting for someone to join the WNBA.
Won't
who's
happen.
trans.
Won't happen.
It would be a massacre.
It won't
It
happen.
would be a fucking
But
massacre.
it won't happen. It hasn't even happened in the high school level. The reason is
Wait, didn't you tell me in a high school game, your son,
no, my daughter played
your
against
daughter, your daughter played for, I guess, a trans player, and they lost, but that's high school, right?
Yeah, but
So it does happen in high school.
no, what I'm
It
saying
happen in high
is a
school.
dominant. So hoop has its own entity. A hoop woman, right? Your elite woman, she thinks she can compete with males, right? She doesn't even consider females as equals, right? So when you're talking about the Candace Parkers and stuff, they want to train with males. So you're not going to have a male who's that good that's going to say, hey, I want to go against girls. Because if they're that good, then they're still competing with dudes.
Nope. And this is why. Because there is a large gap between the NBA in terms of overall skill level between the NBA and the WNBA. There is going to be a player that's not good enough to play in the NBA, but could join the WNBA
Because
as a trans.
Because they'll be playing overseas basketball as a male.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to
logistically they'll do that, but I'm saying, someone's going to try to prove a point. Someone's going to try to prove a point, and there's going to be a lawsuit, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
I'm trying to tell you, because if they were,
we'll see.
What I'm saying
see.
is, if they were good enough already, then they're playing with dudes. They're not even gonna.
But what if they're trans though? Like they're not
But
doing it
but
just with a loophole. They are actually trans, but they're not good enough to play the NBA. Now you might actually have a trans player that actually does play in the NBA.
No, but what I'm saying, if it's a trans player and they're that good, they're practicing and playing with men anyway.
Right.
They're too good for women, so they're not, that's beneath them. So you're not gonna have a Joanna, you're not gonna have a Joanna man.
Right. But
You're
I'm
not gonna
saying,
have a Joanna
but
man.
listen, but
No one's gonna lower their skill down.
you
to play.
see
I'm trying to.
there's a lot of players out there that just cannot make it into the
They're
NBA.
playing overseas. What I'm saying is, like, if we can take
Not everyone wants to go overseas.
What I'm saying, if you take the
Some
top,
people want to stay in America.
If you take the top 10 girls and say, all right, you guys have a chance to try out for the NBA.
Yeah.
Would you do it? They're gonna be like, fuck yeah.
Right. But they probably won't make it.
No, but that's where their minds are. A hooper wants to be at the highest level. So if the NBA is the highest level for a hooper, they don't want to be considered women at this point. I am fucking a hooper. Like, you ask Candace Parker, I'm a hooper. I'm not a WNBA player, I'm a fucking hooper. If you play me against a NBA player, there's not girl rules. She's gonna play with the boys' ball. She's not gonna play with the girls' ball. If I have a shootout with
a girls' basketball is different?
Yes.
I never realized.
If I have a shootout with a WNBA player.
It's smaller?
Yeah.
Oh.
She's not going to
So
want
it's
to use
easier
her
to make
ball.
a basket.
Yeah, she's not going to want to use her ball.
Oh. I don't follow women's sports.
That's what I'm saying. When it comes
Wait,
to
wait. So women use a smaller ball?
it's a smaller ball.
So it's easier to make a basket, obviously.
Just hands.
Well, I mean, there's the hands part, but the fact that
Yeah.
the hoop is the same size, right?
Yeah, they're just smaller.
So it's not like, wait, is the hoop smaller too?
No.
Okay, so if you have the same size hoop and a smaller ball, obviously it's easier to get it into the hole.
For your hand, but it's equal to your hands.
I know it's equal to your hands, but in terms of just throwing it into the
It's the
hole,
same.
into the hoop, no?
You would think. I mean, mathematically, yes.
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 Trying to make a basket with a baseball is a little easier than
But
using
compared
a
to your
basket.
hands, is going to be harder. Like Shaquille
Okay,
O'Neal
all right.
with the ball is like.
Ah.
But if I have a shootout with a female, they're not using their ball. They're going to use a male ball.
Yeah.
Because they don't you're not gonna make me feel less than a hooper. Right.
I got
Like,
you.
you know how you go to, hey, stop acting like a girl. Hey, that's offensive. I'm a fucking hooper.
Listen, if it ever happens, we'll do another interview
Yeah,
and
we'll
I'll be
do it.
like, I
I'm
told
telling
you
you,
so,
man.
or you'll be like, you're
I'm
right.
not gonna.
One of my members, Vlad TV YouTube members, Gary Colin 4390, actually brought up an interesting topic for you. Game 6, in the first round of the 2006 NBA playoffs. You had 2 free throws, and LeBron got in your ear.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say?
If you miss this, you know who's gonna make it.
Yeah. So if you miss this, you know who will end the game.
Yep. Yeah, you know who's gonna.
Yeah.
Funny part. See, this is the real story.
Let's hear it.
So we're gambling during the series, right? Not LeBron, but me, Damon Jones, Larry Hughes. Like we're at LeBron's place. We're gambling, right?
You're at LeBron's house.
His condo.
Okay.
Like a penthouse condo. He had all the fucking floors, right? So we're going there watching game tape, just vibing, right? So, because we're there 3, 4, 5 days, during the series, right? So after...
Wait, but you're playing against LeBron and you're hanging out with LeBron?
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you gonna do? Recruit me?
Well, I mean,
because Larry's my teammate, so he's there now, so we just go there,
okay, I see.
Kicking the shit, like when we're not playing, like who you hanging out with, hanging out with Larry,
Okay, I got you.
So
yeah, I didn't know how it is. Whether some
yeah.
people have like this like killer instinct. I don't think Kobe hangs out with his competitors, in the middle of playoffs,
probably
stuff
not.
like that. You see what I'm saying?
We're fucking young, right? We don't know,
Right.
So we're there chilling, playing, so beating the shit out of Damon Jones, right?
In terms of what? Gambling?
Yeah,
So what are you guys betting on?
playing Blu-ray,
Okay.
right? So this started even the year before.
The infamous game. Yes.
Yeah. So I used to run around. I used to when during shoot around or something, I'll just yell, "The landlord is here! The landlord is here! I want my rent money!" Right? That used to be I don't give a fuck if it's $4. The landlord is here, right? So I used to just yell that shit during the games. Right? At Damon Jones. Like I wouldn't even accept his payment just so I can keep yelling that shit. Right? Like I'll pretend like, oh, Damon Jones out there getting you money. I'll just tell him I'm in the restroom or something. Come back, give it to me next game. Right? I'll do that shit. Like I would never accept his money because I just wanted to keep yelling that shit out. So during that series, and I'll tell the coach, hey, that man owes me money, coach. You put him in 1-4 flat. I'm gonna fucking destroy him. Huh? I said, I'm the landlord. That tenant owes me money. You think about putting that tenant in the fucking game, I'm destroying him. So when Damon Jones get in, fucking the whole playbook goes out the window, fucking destroyed. So they stopped fucking playing Damon Jones, like game 4, game 5, right? He's not really getting any minutes, right? And I'm just fucking laughing at him, like, yeah, fucker, I got you. It's like, and so I'm just taunting Damon Jones the whole fucking time. So during game 6, we make a comeback, playing well, and I hit the shot to get us to overtime. So we're winning, down, we're up 1. I got the 2 free throws, and that's when LeBron tackles you. You missed this, who's gonna end the game. So I missed both of them.
Yeah.
Right? He's talking about Damon Jones. Like if you miss this, Damon Jones getting subbed in. Right? So we're sitting there, and then I see the fucker taking his shirt off. Like, get the fuck out of here. They're not putting Damon Jones. Who the fuck put Damon Jones in? Right? so Damon Jones is sitting there happy, like, hell yeah, boy. The tenant, like he's talking shit like he's about to get the ball. And I'm like, there's no way you're not getting the ball. Like, no, one, LeBron James is not passing the ball to a dude who ain't played 2 games, ain't played this game, ain't got a shot up, no way. So, we're leaning towards like LeBron, because he's already hit 2 game winners this series, 2 layup game winners that really killed us from this series. And sure enough, dribbles to the left, fucking passes the ball to Damon Jones. Damon Jones hit a fucking jumper. like you talking about how sick, how sick your stomach felt, like out of all people on that fucking team that you had to put in, and not the goddamn tenant that I've been fucking trolling for the last 2 years. And it was just one of those things. Like after that, just this one man just owned me. I was like, I don't even want my money now, bro. Just get the fuck out of here.
How much did he owe you?
What, $35 maybe? I told you, I just wanted to.
I was waiting for like 20,000 or
No,
$35.
no, you owe me any kind of money, bro. I'm fucking making a big deal of it. Right? It's a big deal. I own you for life, right?
Over $35.
$35. I was trolling him the whole series and fucking the whole year for $35. Like I want to check increments of $5. I want this 35 as painful as possible.
No chill guilt.
Yeah,
there
so
we
that
go.
Was, that was really it. It was more. It was me, Damon Jones, and LeBron had that. Who's coming in, right? Like, get the fuck out of here. Not subbing in him.
Well, you said that at age 25, you were better than Steph Curry at 25. A lot of people try to downplay the statement, but at 25, you were a beast and he was still up and coming.
Yeah, that's why I worded it that way.
Exactly.
right? And when you with me, you have to understand what I'm actually saying, right? And I don't think people actually listen to. They're like, "Oh, that was a bad take." Did you listen to the actual take?
Yeah.
Right. I'm using it to everything I do. I'm researching it to make it a certain way, and then you understand it. So like, I got hurt at 25, so I don't have really a resume after that. So my resume is by 25, these players couldn't fuck with me. As a career, I'm not in these fucking categories, right? I can't compete with the God,
Right.
But before the God became a God,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. You even said that you don't play yourself in NBA 2K because you want to win.
well, I'm trying to win. I'm fucking unrealistic, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not one of those like at 25 I was great. 26 on, I'm Lord and mediocre, right? Right, and that's just reality, right? So even when it comes to a career, right? With the Dames and all that, I can't fucking compete with their careers. Like I didn't, my stats, like, no, it's not even close. Right. And that's just the reality of it. So like when you say who's better, and I always say better, then you have to have a time frame, because better, and you want me to be honest, then it's them. You wanna have something to talk about, then let's put a cap on it by a certain age, then it will be me.
So you were how old when you retired?
32, I think.
32. Okay. So at 32, you retired from your career, essentially, and you were rich at the time. You were worth over 100 million at that point. What does a 32-year-old retiree who's worth $100 million spend their days over the next year or two?
Trying to find out who the fuck he is. Miserable.
Really? You were miserable?
Yeah.
Huh. I did not expect this answer. Okay.
Because, like any athlete, right? From the ages of 6, 7 years old, all we knew was one thing: hoop.
Yeah.
Hoop school, right? Hoop summer, hoop play, right? Hoop
Okay,
school.
so you were how old when you started playing? 6?
I started at 10.
At 10, yeah. You were a little bit later.
Yeah, I was later.
So from 10 years old, but you were nonstop.
Yeah, so 10 to 32, nonstop. All
22
I knew
years.
was basketball, right?
Yes.
That's all I knew. Regimen, wake up, ball, sleep, wake up,
Yeah.
ball, sleep, wake up, ball, eat. Like, that was it,
Yeah.
right? My career, right? I'm not partying as much during the season, because that's the weird thing about NBA players, that, they work their asses off during the summer, and then in the season starts, they want to party more because they get to go to every city, which is stupid, right? It's supposed to be the other way around. Focus during the season, party in the summer. So, I handicap, don't use phones, don't party as much, go to 2-3 cities, don't drink, there's things that I put. So when I'm done and say, all right, Gilbert, have fun, enjoy life. All right, cool. A week goes by, the summer goes by, and then what ends up happening is, this is what happens to every athlete. The season changes. Their season, right? I can smell when the season's starting. Getting a little colder, that September smell is coming. So what ends up happening is my body naturally goes into get ready for the season mode.
Huh. Okay.
Well, unfortunately, there's no fucking season.
Yeah.
But for the last fucking years of my life,
22 years.
my body,
Two-thirds of your life.
my body has been programmed. 5:30, wake up, right? Train, go to sleep, eat lunch, train, wake up, boom, train. So now when training camp starts, because every athlete, they're going to get antsy. They're going to start doing a lot of this when the season's getting ready to start. And now there's no season. So what happens? You're sitting there like, what the fuck do I do with this time? All right, I woke up at 5:30. All right, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. Okay. And so what I did when I first, retired, I had to try to figure out how to be busy between 9 o'clock and 12. And then it's lunchtime, then I go to sleep, and then about 5 o'clock to 8, be busy again. So what I caught myself doing, not even noticing, not even really understanding it. I'm driving from Calabasas all the way to downtown.
Just to kill time.
Just to kill time. In traffic, just listen to music, got a fucking playlist. Trying to, like, you know how like it's like, all right, take this route for shorter. I'm taking the longest route. Right? Just driving to downtown, driving back. By the time I get back, it's noon. Fucking lunchtime. Go get some lunch. Go on my TV, pass out, wake up, do it again. I spent a year driving in traffic.
Wow.
Like I'll buy a new car and I got like fucking 30,000 miles on it in a year because I'm just fucking in traffic the whole time. Just having fucking fun. Just this.
Okay. Well, but you retired because of your injuries, right?
Yeah.
But you could have played overseas, right?
Could have.
Clearly there was teams in the world that would take you.
Yeah, like I was getting injured and, you know, I was trying out getting injured and my body just wasn't responding, you know.
At
so
32, huh?
Yeah, so I just let it go. And then letting it go is like,
You can't come back.
no hobby, right? I wasn't a golfer, you know, so most guys, they sit on the golf course as long as possible. That's why a lot of guys go to TNT. They want to hurry up and get back into it because what do we know? We haven't had a regular life.
But what about, okay, I
We
get
haven't
that
had a
part.
regular
I get
life.
that part, right? But you're sitting on $100 million.
Okay, where do I spend it from 10 a.m. to 4? I'm going to go to fucking mall? I mean, how many malls can we go to with no one there? Where's that?
No, listen. It's okay.
That's what I said. In hindsight,
No, I got it. Listen. As someone, listen, I didn't have 100 million, but you know, I sit on millions. So it's always interesting. For example, like, you know, because I was broke the majority of my life, you know, or struggling, or you know, trying to get to somewhere, and you know, you always like, oh man, I wish I could buy that car. I wish I could buy that Louis jacket. I wish I could. And then you get to this point where you know, like I have a Mercedes dealership down the street from my house. I remember going by the dealership, walking around going like, I could buy any of these cars and I don't want any of them.
don't want any of them.
And then going to the Louis store going like, I could buy any item in the store. But I don't like anything here. So
And
it's a weird, like, you know what I'm saying? And this is not me talking down on people. This is just the reality of once you hit certain financial levels. It's like all this stuff that you dreamed about having all these years, when you suddenly could have it, you're like,
once you've done once you've done it, now let's take away your job.
yeah.
Now let's take away your outlet, what you do to be able to be like, I'm good. No matter how much money you have, if you don't have it, that's why when you hear someone, they'll be like, yeah, my parents still work. My dad just loves to go to work. That's what's keeping him alive.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Same thing.
Absolutely. You have to have a purpose. You're right. You take that purpose away. If you tell me, because you know, I mean, it's an interesting question. Like, listen, I'm going to turn 50 next month. And it's like, do I still love what I do? Now, not all parts. You know, I mean, like, you know, I've had to install managers in my, you know, company because there's certain parts of managing 20 employees that I just can't, you know, I just don't enjoy anymore and so forth. And like, would I do every interview? Like, if let's just say I sold my company for 100 million, would I do every interview I'm doing now? No, absolutely. But if I had a chance, you know, like when I did the Smokey Robinson interview, would I have done that for free? Absolutely. Smokey Robinson, Mike Tyson, Shaka Khan. Like when I look at some of the, you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who I recently did, it's like, yo, some of these, it's like to be able to sit down with this really accomplished person and to be able to ask them whatever you want for 2 hours is dope. Like I get so excited for these kind of interviews. But would I do every interview, like with every regular guest and everything? No, probably not.
Now, what if we take that from you? Right? We take it from you.
You cannot interview anyone else.
And then you can't interview no one else.
Yeah.
First week, 2 weeks, you're like, yeah. And then after, when everything settles and you're sitting there like,
fuck.
Now all these people are calling. Like now the people, your guest list that you've always wanted starts calling. You can't do it.
Yeah. Eminem wants to do an interview.
Right?
Can't
now
do it.
you're seeing, when basketball season starts,
Yeah.
it's nerve-wracking for players who retired.
So this goes like everyone that you know goes through this. Really?
It's the purpose. What is my purpose now? Right? Why do you think the divorce rate is so high athletes win the first 4 years because
Oh, really? I didn't know
the first 4 years, that athlete is now have to be something he's never been before. Now he has to see the kids and the wife has adapted to him in his career. When that career is over with, he has to adapt to them in their time. He don't know what that is.
Well, but there's also this part, and I actually looked this up. 60 to 65% of NBA players go broke within the first 5 years of retirement.
Yep.
Now, you are not one of those because of the amount that you got, and you're relatively good with your spending.
I was hurt. So because I got hurt for 6 years, 7 years, the thought of I'm never going to play again, right? I'm never going to play again. And that process of I'm never going to make another dollar, you know, the horror stories of what's going on. But when an NBA player retires, or just anybody who makes a lot of money and then it stops like that, right? You know, lawyers and stuff, they're mentally preparing for when, I might have 2 more years. NBA player, Melo didn't know when he was retiring. He just said, we don't want you no more, right? We can't use your services. So now he has to adjust his life. Now you're talking about a guy who can walk into any mall, buy whatever the fuck he wants, anytime he wants, because he makes so much money every year. It's going to take him 2 years to really understand that you can't do this anymore.
No, I feel you.
So that's 2 years of, hey, you can't do that. How many millions has he blown already? Just on
many millions.
Now the other 2 years, now he has to try to figure out how to cut his expenses. So you're talking about most NBA players who retired, they're hard bills, meaning bills that those are just guaranteed monthly. You're sitting at 120 average. 120 average a month.
Yeah.
300,000 normal a month.
Well, you're saying
hard bills, houses.
Wait. You're saying NBA players spend 300,000 a month? No. Wait. Maybe the very top guys.
Yeah.
Right, because an average NBA player earns about $8 million a year.
So,
right?
So ask Shaq how much he spends monthly.
Shaq is an anomaly.
But what I'm saying is, now if he didn't,
I'm not talking about the superstars.
What I'm saying is, if he didn't get a TNT job and he don't have those endorsements,
yeah, he could have burned through it. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Is he going to stop spending $500,000 a month?
Yeah.
By the time
he's going to go from a Rolls Royce to a Honda.
But that's what I'm saying.
Not.
But every month he's waiting. That's $500,000 without him even spending it on the shit he's going to do for fun. There's just hard bills, houses, this house, that house, cars, mom's cars, this bill, that bill, sisters, brothers, kids, and tuition.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're sitting at a large number. Now you got to sit there and say, all right, hold on. Who am I cutting off? I'm giving my mom $20,000 a month. I got to bump that down to 10. That usually is the last fucking resort because you don't want to hear that fucking mouth, right? So now you would rather, you got to cut out these cars. So what happens is the player himself is going to cut out his expenses first before he even gets to the family because that's an argument.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know if you heard recently, but Gabrielle Union did an interview where she said that her and Dwayne Wade split their bills 50-50. And it caused a lot of anxiety, whatever. But the reason is because both of them support a lot of people, which honestly, I've just never done that. Granted, I don't have a big family and I don't have a bunch of people, but when people come to me, listen, a lot of people have come to me recently because of the economy. I'll throw them a little bit of money and it's like, this is all I can help you with for now. They'll come back. I'll be like, nah, I don't expect this money back, but I can't keep giving you money knowing that you're not going to be able to pay it back. But you're right. When you have a bunch of people that are completely dependent on you, I mean, did you have dependents like that when you retired?
Yeah, dad.
Your dad.
Dad and kids. But for Wade and Gab, right? When you're talking about two big entities, right? Right?
One is a little bigger than the other, money-wise.
Which one?
Dwayne Wade.
Still?
I see where you're going with this.
Right? Still,
he's no longer working, she is.
Yeah, he's no longer working, she is. So, so at this point, what ends up happening is he has his side, right? He has the kids, he has his house, he has, probably mom, dad, and probably has his assistant, chef. And she's going to have her side. She's going to have her assistants, this and that. So when they look at the bills and they're saying, all right, your bills a month is, 100,000.
Yeah. I actually looked it up. Now, this is not always right, but a lot of times this is more accurate than people want to admit to it. Dwayne Wade has a net worth of 170 million. Gabriel Union has a net worth of 40 million.
Okay.
He's got about 4 times.
Yeah, but that's bank money. How much are we making today?
Yeah.
Right. So he might have 170, but he's making, let's say $300,000 a month. She might be making $500,000 a month right now.
Right, yeah,
so
right.
so what they're doing is they say, all right, listen, we'll throw all our bills in the air. Right. It comes out to, 125,000.
Yeah.
So one of them is say, all right, we'll split it, which is technically not a split because one bill is higher.
Yeah.
So they're just saving pressure on the other one.
Well, no, I think they're talking about how they both take care of a bunch of people themselves, but when they spend money together, it's 50-50. Like if they, if they have a mortgage,
No, but that's what I'm saying. So they'll take their bills and say, all right, listen, we got the Cardinals, we got 6 cars, so let's just fucking split it down the middle.
Yeah.
Right? Because what ends up happening is one life is a lot bigger, right? And if, let's just say Dwayne Wade is Superman, Gabrielle Union don't want to be Lois Lane because Lois Lane, just like every other regular person, will eventually get cut off because it becomes you're not an asset, you're a liability. So what Gabrielle would do is say, I'm going to be Superwoman. I'm gonna help.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? Yeah, I got an extra.
Superman, I'm Superwoman.
I got an extra
both,
20 grand I don't fucking do. I got 20 grand I can fucking just blow. Here, we're just gonna throw it. You can help some of these bills out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's really more of it. It's instead of becoming a liability for your man. So all the women that sit out there and say, well, if he got all the money, right? I'm not gonna live in no house and he expecting me to pay. That's cool. But I'm gonna tell you right now, Superman at some points get tired of saving Lois Lane. Gets tired, right? Superman will love Superwoman because what Superwoman does, it protects him from fucking the rest of the Lois Lanes because the mother becomes Lois Lane, the father becomes Lois Lane, the kids become Lois Lanes, friends, cousins, right? So if you're just gonna add, one day he's gonna say, fucking cut everybody. You're the first person that's right there next to him, you're cut too.
Yeah.
But if you're the one that's bridging the gap, they say, hey, hold on. Hey, mom's just called, says she wants 50. I just told her we don't have it right now. We don't have it right now. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. No,
you become the bad. Someone needs to become the bad guy because he doesn't want to. But eventually, just like any fucking Superman, I'm just going to fucking cut off so I can keep dominating this world. An eagle does not want a fucking pigeon.
No, that's true.
A bird, the pigeon bird does what? Feed off the ground, feed off humans. An eagle flies high, comes down and fucking hawks.
Yeah.
I can't use my wings to help you. You have to be able to have wings too. We can fly together and attack together. Yeah. That is the ultimate. When you're talking about rich and wealthy men, they do not want a fucking pigeon that they have to feed. Oh, I need a Birkin bag. Oh, yeah, okay, we go. Eventually, it's all fucking fun and games at the beginning. Right. Then eventually, I'm sitting here like, oh, fuck.
No, I feel you. Listen, I have been in many relationships through the course of my life. The ones that have been the strongest and have lasted the longest are the people who I viewed as equals. The women that have been like, yo, I'm going to help you do what it is you do, and I'm going to have a part in it. Mm-hmm. It's not, but I've also had that, where we going, boss? You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was married back in the day, it was like my company fell apart, the .com crash happened, everything else like that. And she was looking at me like, I don't want to work. You have to figure it out. Yeah. So we got divorced. I was married 8 months. We had a house mortgage. We had a $300,000 house in the Oakland Hills. And I'm looking at her going like, what are we going to do? And she's like, what are you going to do? You're the breadwinner. And I'm like, why the fuck do I need you around?
Exactly.
I need you to say where we're going, boss. Like, I don't need that. I need someone like we're fucked up right now. We are fucked up right now. Not me. We are fucked up right now. We got a mortgage. I can't pay it. I got a job. I got fired 4 days later. Mm-hmm. You can make money, but you're not fucking working right now. What the fuck are we doing right now? Mm-hmm. Fuck this house. Fuck this marriage. I'm done. And 8 months later, I was out. And I've never regretted it.
You can't, right? Because it's like, if I'm the breadwinner, I'd rather just feed myself than feed you.
Exactly. Like right? I'm struggling myself right now. And I remember sort of like the that moment when I'm like, listen, we can't afford this house right now. I don't have a job. I just had to shut down my company and I just got fired. We can't afford this house. Why don't we sell the house, get a smaller house a little farther out, or maybe even get an apartment for now while I get back on my feet? And her answer was like, no, I like this house. I like that there's deer comes in the morning and shit like that. And it's like, well, fuck it. I'm done then. I'm good. No one's going to have this house then.
Yeah,
and that was that.
And
that was that.
And
and I'm sure she regrets it every time she sees me on the internet these days.
I'm
You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is.
But that's the thought process. And that's where, I think today's women don't really understand. Like I understand what the rappers and the entertainers, I get what you guys see. And there's a reason they're not all getting married. There's a reason they're bouncing because the men, the ideal of this is what attracts you to get what I want, right? It's prostitution in a sense, right? I'm using this to get what I want. You want to give me this for this? Cool. But at some point, I don't want you. You're not an equal. You're just a taker.
Yes.
You're not making my life easier.
You're making it harder.
You're making it harder. Like, if you are a stay-at-home wife, right, or girlfriend, then you need to understand what that means, right? Like, okay, when I come in there, when I come home, is the house clean? Is the suitcase packed? I drop my suitcase down. Are the clothes clean, folded? Like, do your part to make the entity's life easier. That is the point. If you're not going to put into making, money with me or helping me make money or working with me or working for me, like, if I have an assistant, like that should be, as a woman, you should be ashamed of yourself. If your NBA husband, your
CEO husband,
your CEO, whatever the fuck he is, and he has an assistant, and that's not your fucking job.
Well,
what the fuck?
I mean, listen, no. Being an assistant may not be your job, but you should have a role in that person's business. An actual real role.
A real role that you do.
A lot of times women do finances better than men. So you should be handling all the financial shit. You see what I'm saying?
There should be something.
There should be something. Look, I understand that a lot of women work on their looks. They get surgeries, they go to the gym, they get their hair done, their nails, their clothes, everything else like that. And that is great to lure, to get the type of man you initially want. But at the end of the day, if you do not bring real value to the relationship, and that's not just sex.
Yeah,
that's not looks. It's probably not cooking, especially if you're talking about someone with money, because, you probably can't cook as well as the restaurants. Yeah. That's what it is, right? Mm-hmm. That relationship will have a relatively short lifespan. And someone that's going to come in and actually bring value to that real relationship will actually be the person that takes your place.
Yeah, and women, if this is what you say, that when someone says, what do you bring? And you say, I bring a table. Fuck out.
Or I bring me.
Like I have a table.
I have a table.
I have all the fucking chairs. I have the food. Now what do you bring?
Exactly.
Like, and then this is also can stop complications, right? Mm-hmm. Find the person that has your values that you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm a man and I say, hey, I want a woman that splits bills 50-50, right?
You can find that.
Right? Yeah. This is fucking 8 billion people in the world, right?
Exactly.
I don't need you, hey, as a woman, I don't need you to say, hey, I can't afford that, right? If you can't afford it, then you're not the one for me. Or if you don't want to do it, I'm not going to say you're a broke girl or you tell me I'm a broke dude. Just find a dude who wants to pay all your bills. I'm looking for someone who wants to be equal, because equal means I'm going to treat you equal. If I'm paying all your bills, right? If I'm paying all your bills, you really have no value to me, and I'm going to keep fucking whoever I want to fuck. You have no rules over me. Now, if we're 50-50, the fuck am I going to fuck someone that I'm a one? No, that's out the window. We're 50-50 partners now.
Yep.
You are valued, which means I'm not going to jeopardize this for that.
Yep.
Well, if this is nothing and you're just a taker, I'm going to keep trying to find a fucking replacement, period. I'm sorry. I can hurt your feelings all you want, but at the end of the day, you're replaceable because you bring nothing to the table.
Right. Although men are men and sometimes they fuck up.
If I got a 50-50 partner, I'm not going to risk that for...
Gilbert Arenas, man, always a pleasure. Until next time.
Thank you for having me. Peace.
go. This is something we don't usually do all the time, but you pulled up in something that I've never seen before in my life. And I've seen a few Maybachs in my day, but I've never seen this Maybach. So tell me what exactly this is.
So this is a concept mistake by Mercedes, I'm going to say.
Okay.
So in 2020, they created a concept car or concept van by Metris. So they took the Metris and then designed two Maybachs, right? Well, two inside Maybachs. One actually that looked like Maybach. The other one had the Mercedes look to it, the Mercedes grille and everything. So this was the only one that had the full Maybach features in it. So it went to Russia and China for the technology. My guy, Dante Jones, is the one who put me on to it. So when COVID hit, everything got shut down. The concept of it got shut down. The thought of it got shut down. So during COVID, I hit Mercedes up and said, hey, I'm looking for a van for, my hoop kids, right? My kids are getting bigger. We need more space. What are you guys doing with that minivan I see? And it was like, to be honest, we haven't heard no response back. So I was like, well, can you see if y'all can sell it? Right? So like a week and a half later, they got back, they said, whatever we want to do with it, we can do with it.
Okay.
So like, well, shit, yeah, I want it. Right?
Okay.
So there was like, I was like, how much? They was like, it wasn't supposed to be sold. We don't have no, I was like, make us offer, 125. They was like, fuck it, all right.
Okay.
Right, so yeah.
Right. Because most Maybachs go for about $250 or so, right? So this is almost like a half price Maybach.
I wouldn't be surprised if they actually come out with it anyway, because
Yeah.
it was part of the new concept. But so this was the original concept of what they were going to do with it.
Wow. Okay, so let's take a look at this thing.
So
Let's walk
as
around
you can
a little
see,
bit.
it has a two-tone look. Everything the way it came the same way. As you can see, caps are gone. Every time I buy the caps, someone plucks them off. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with these things, but they keep taking my caps off every single time.
All right, so let's go around the car real quick. Let's just see the whole thing on the outside. So this is the back with the no chill G.
No chill G. What ends up happening though, like sometimes because it's so low, I'll hit things, and the last time I hit something, to get it replaced, months.
Yeah.
Because it's not it's not custom. I mean, it's custom. So anytime I dent it or something happens, it's out of commission for a while.
Okay. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's go around.
But you can see, like
side.
from the concept, it has the original Maybach theme to it. That two-toned look. It wasn't something I did. This is how it came.
Okay. Let's take a look at the inside.
So the inside of it is
Woo!
Look
at that.
the Maybach style, right?
Yeah.
It has all touchscreen. Now, here's the dilemma with this car, because it's not in production and it wasn't then, and it came from China. It's all in Chinese.
Okay.
Right?
So all the TV screens are all Chinese.
The wording. So unless you speak Mandarin, you're gonna have troubles trying to figure out the buttons and stuff on this. It has all the TVs and stuff. It has, everything is touchscreen on both sides. The roof, and it's a 6-seater. It's like a smaller Sprinter van.
Okay, can we see the roof real quick? So the roof lights up? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so the roof lights up. Right now it's lit and it goes to blue.
Oh, okay.
Any driver's side, there's no, because usually stuff like this is supposed to be driven, right? You're supposed to be driven in it, right? So they never make it comfortable for the fucking
It's always
driver.
the back seat that's always
It's always
plush.
the back, yeah.
Right, and this actually has 3 rows, right?
Yeah, so it has 3 rows. Let me open up this one. And here, I can. Now, the best thing about the back row in this one, it can go all the way down as a bed.
So it's actually a bed in the back. So you have a full-blown bed back here. Dope.
So usually, the back doesn't flatten all the way down like this.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is amazing, man. So this is a one of one right here.
Yeah.
You're the only person in the world that's got.
Someone has the other one, but the other one is not built as a Mercedes.
It's not a Maybach, it's a Mercedes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
More Mercedes look.
Wow, this is amazing, man. Ziameno. We don't even really know what it says on the seats.
Yep. I was supposed to learn Mandarin, but I was like, eh.
It is what it is. When you pulled up in this, I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, I had no idea. Like I said, I've seen, you know, actual Maybachs, the Maybach truck, everything else like that, but not a Maybach van. This is some other shit.
Even though it's a one of one and it's a Maybach, it's still a van. Trying to holler at chicks in the van is still like, you're in a van, sir. You're a family guy. Right? So it's still like one of those things where even though it says Maybach, you know, I still just drive by, keep your head low.
Right, but this is not your only car, though.
No.
How many cars do you have?
3.
3 cars.
Maybachs.
All Maybachs.
I just love Maybach.
You just love Maybach. Okay.
Yeah. Never drove a Rolls Royce, not just Maybach. I love the idea.
Yeah. That's what it is, man. Well, thank you for sharing. Like I said, this is amazing, man. Like, it's nothing that I've ever seen before. A one of one Maybach minivan. Love it. That's what it is.